I checked back about an hour later, and I still okay. Oh, so you're making your way slowly but surely back into these YouTube streets, and so definitely looking forward to what you'll be sharing, and in particular what you'll be sharing tonight. But yeah, so I think David, he'll be joining us shortly as well.
Yeah.
But again, just to get the show started. So again, Peter, so you were going over briefly just your just I want everybody to just kind of go around, just kind of give your history in martial arts. When did you start practicing? What styles have you practiced over the years? And then we can get into our question set.
So I started at a very young age. Like I said, between 3 and 4. My father was a huge Bruce Lee fan. Like, he loved Bruce Lee. He loved everything about him. If he could buy his underwear, he would have. That's how much of a big fan he is. And he goes to me, he couldn't live his dream, become a martial artist, so he lived his dream through me. So he put me in martial arts at a very young age. I mostly stayed with Master Ray most of the years. We try to experiment at other schools here and there for budget reasons, but we never stuck more than a few days. Then I went always back to Master Ray, and he always shook his head like, "I told you I'm the cheapest around here, and I'm always the best." He goes, but I went to Greece. I never stopped practicing. I always continue what he taught me. When I came back in the States, and I said this on our podcast too. When he goes to me, "Well, you remember?" He look over like, "Huh. You didn't forget nothing, kid." And I continue practicing. Where it got very interesting, and I'll get more details later, but the small tip of my style is he sent me out in the wild to go train on other styles. Mm-hmm. And when they saw, like, "You're not a white belt," I'm like, "No, I never said I was a white belt. You assume I was a white belt. I actually am a brown belt trying to get my black belt, but I have to go through this course to get at least one degree."
Not to get too far, because I know we're going to explore that in one of the questions. But so, what styles? Just give us like a high level. What styles have you practiced over the years? And so, practice, I mean, some that you've gotten, I guess, relatively proficient with, because you can be able to practice for a couple of weeks, or you can be able to for a while. So, what would you say is your core disciplines that you've studied over the years?
So the major one is Saijitsu and Netjitsu. I also dabbled a little bit in VR Jiu-Jitsu and Karate Okinawa. So those are the four I gravitate to. And I did a very, very, very tiny little bit of ninjitsu.
All right, so those first two styles you had mentioned, those are Chinese kung fu styles?
Mix kung fu and karate, because my instructor was half Japanese and half Chinese.
Gotcha. Awesome.
We're mixed, I know.
Yeah. How about you, Mandrell? If you want to just kind of give us a high level, your martial arts journey.
Yeah, I started martial arts when I was about 5.5.
Oh wow!
6. My uncle was teaching it, because after Vietnam, he got heavily into karate and was doing it ever since. And started teaching it, So by the time I was born, he started right after he came back from Vietnam. So by the time I was born and old enough to practice it, he was, he had been forever doing karate. At least, geez, I don't know. He was about 15 years in by that point. Right. So of consistency. So he's teaching it. And so my mom, it was my mom's older brother. So naturally she sent me to him, and I learned from him. I was doing karate till about 13. Because at 12 years old, I saw Mike Tyson fight for the first time. Right. I had no idea who he was, nothing. Right. But my dad and his brothers and sisters, how you pull your money together to get a fight? Everyone meets at the house. It was one of those things, a fight party at my grandmother's house, right? Met at my dad's mom's house, my grandmother's house, all his siblings. And my cousins and I were running around the house playing and everything like that. So we're sitting down watching it, and all of a sudden this fighting god comes out with no music, no robe,
no socks,
no nothing, right? Comes in there, first round, mollywops this guy. And like my jaw dropped, and I was like, I want to do that. And so I told my dad a couple of days later I wanted to try boxing. So like a couple of weeks later, he took me to a boxing gym, because there weren't many here in the city where I lived at. Well, here, listen to me. At the city where I lived in at the time, or I grew up at. So I did that until I went to college. From age 13 until 18. Yeah. So, and I wrestled a little bit in high school, but I always went back to boxing as soon as, It was over. I played football too, but always went back to boxing. And I still train karate, a little bit, but love boxing.
Right.
And so after I got out the army, and there's a few things there, a few things after that, I started practicing Wing Chun Kung Fu. Did that for 3 years, and today I'm practicing Muay Thai, kickboxing, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice.
Present day. So
right. Now, what form of karate was it? Okinawan style, or was it hybrid, or
it is an Okinawan style. In fact, it dates back to the Ryukyu Kingdom. Ryukyu, for everyone who doesn't know, Ryukyu was what Okinawa was named before it became Okinawa. It became Okinawa when they joined Japan, the Imperial Japan.
Right.
But before that, it was called Ryukyu because it was its own kingdom, own nation.
Gotcha. So they combined. I actually, thanks for sharing that. So it's almost like United Kingdom, and you have Scotland, and those different countries. So they joined the Japanese Empire, as was known at the time, and forever since, I guess, it's been
Okinawa. Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
Before that, it was Ryukyu.
Right.
People don't realize that Okinawa and Asian countries have gone through a lot of evolutions over the years.
Yes.
Several evolutions, actually. I think it started back in the medieval ones, and even the West joined that evolution at one point.
Yeah.
Nice. They're very good.
Yeah, karate started way back. I became a fight nerd, right? I was shocked to find out that karate is not as old as I thought it was. I thought it was thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, it's not. It's like 600. It's more like 600. You know what I'm saying? That's old. But a few hundred years. I thought it was like thousands of years old, but it's not.
Right. And I believe it started in China, and I think it came to Japan and became.
Well, no,
that's correct. Actually,
it started and developed in Japan, but what happened was some Japanese guys went over to China for a visit, ended up staying for a long time because they discovered Kung Fu. And then there's like, hold on, let's work. They went back to Ryukyu, right? And they started kept practicing it, but then they started changing it and making tweak here, tweak there.
Right.
Big changes here, big changes there. You know what I'm saying? And they just evolved into karate.
Right.
And so they started making their own techniques, their own training regimens, all that stuff, and they created karate. 5 masters did so. They were from 5 different parts of Ryukyu. So, but like a few times a year, they would all meet up and share with each other the knowledge of different techniques and things that they learned on their own.
Right.
So they were originally there's no different style of karate. To be honest, there's just karate.
Right.
And but now, for the sake of marketing and money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've come up with different styles of karate. You got people making up their own style.
Right. So get me started with that.
But isn't part of that the natural course of something? To me, I always look at it as like a tree or a plant that grows in the ground. And naturally, that plant is going to have branches. And it's going to go its own way based on the person, based on the build of the person. It's almost natural that, from who you are, everybody can learn the same thing, but just based on your life experience, based on your physical capabilities, that oftentimes it's inevitable that something will not just stay its own thing. It has to evolve because people evolve over time. So are we surprised to see the diversity, or do you think that the intentions are less natural and just more people just wanting to, as you said, just capitalize on it, make money, or just be different?
Here's the thing that happened to karate, right? Okay, couple of things happened to it. First, you had judo came around and it got super popular. Then the guy who created judo got really popular. He was teaching it to the Japanese army, right? The Imperial Army. He was teaching it to them. But then they started hearing about this crazy thing going on over in Ryukyu. What the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? What's this? So the emperor asked them to come over and give a demonstration. The 5 masters like, okay, well, listen, You want a demonstration from? Oh, why don't we just send one of us and then he does it? No, I want to see what all 5 of you can do. It's like, yeah, but there's no difference. You know what I'm saying? Karate is karate, and especially at that point. So they're like, okay, all right, this is an opportunity here. So let's make some changes. Let's do something to show. And so when you look at it, even when you see the 4 different forms today and have them side by side, they're so similar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas one person might pose here with their hands here, where the other person would pose here. It's the same pose, but one person has their hands up, the other style has their hands lowered.
Right.
It's just the same stuff, right? Like, like here's the thing, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. And so the emperor was like, hey, teach my guys this, teach my army this, you know, this and so. But he picked one in particular. That's still to this day the most popular style of karate, which is Shotokan.
Right.
That's the most popular style on the planet. And because he had the backing, he was chosen and had the backing and marketing of the emperor.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened to it. Like they were kind of backed into a corner. They didn't even want to. They're just like, this is lame. We don't want to do this, but I guess we kind of have to.
But don't forget, we have to add some other factors too later on as time passes.
Yeah, later on.
Yeah,
the Karate Kid.
I wasn't even go there yet.
What happened to karate?
Yeah, I wasn't even go there yet. But I was going to go actually with war, and like you said earlier, like your uncle was a lot of people who were drafted to the Vietnam War. They were learning different styles of martial arts over there because they got migrated over there. So that helped the popularity. Then you have Elvis, for example, who loved martial arts. He was a humongous martial art fan. He had his own dojo in his house, I think, at one point. So you have to pick that too. So all these styles, it's popularity. Then you have, like he said, movies. Karate Kid, hate it or love it. When I hear argue, you like the movie or you hate the movie. That's a whole different story. But Okinawa Shonryu, he made that popular. But in a day, like he was saying before, karate. Okay, what is the difference from Okinawa Shonryu, Shunryu, Shinryu? It's from what village? If it's start from here to here to here, it's the same technique. End of the day, like the beginning, the first 3 to 4 katas we always teach are the similar ones from across the board from any karate. The difference is if you spin left or right, or if you can do a shooter or a down block, or reverse punch, it's very smart. But all of them start in an I form because it's easier to teach a white belt this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like what I mean by the Karate Kid is the worst thing that happened to karate is because that's when the watering down happened. It went from actual self-defense, actually learning how to fight, to oh no, it's for kids. It's extracurricular activity for children.
Right. Yeah, that's another discussion altogether. But let me move on because I have a series of questions for you guys that we're gonna to hopefully to guide the discussion tonight. So each one of you just talked about how you again studied different types of martial arts for different reasons. So I want to explore a little bit now. Mandrell, you kind of gave a little bit, and so do you, Peter, about your reasons for starting with something. Again, you guys started very young, so it's not like you just said, "Oh, well, I'd like to study that today." It was basically, in your case, your father directed you, or said, Mandrell, you had your uncle who, who certainly was an early influence on you guys. But when you guys start to get of age, when you start making your own decisions about what to study, what inspired you then to go into different forms of martial arts? Because I think that this question may have, I guess, less relevance today than it may have done maybe 20, 30 years ago. Because I remember, especially up to Bruce Lee's time, at least, from everything I've known about Bruce Lee, he was one of the major advocates for studying a diversity of different disciplines, but everybody was kind of in their camps, taekwondo or kung fu or karate or whatever it was. So what inspired you guys to look at, why did you choose to go from what your core system was, which was, again, for both of you, karate, or in your case, it was like a mix of karate and kung fu because of your teacher's background. And I think you kind of lead it with some of that. So, Grooming, if you want to go on and continue your story about your teacher who wanted you to go into this different direction? You want to continue that, and then I'll follow up with Mandrell and see.
Yeah, I want to get a little background on him. Master Ray, his roots were originally from, he grew up in the States, but he was the first generation because his mother and his father was Japanese, his mother was Chinese. And I looked at him like, how the hell did they meet? He goes, they got in their own boat by accident. That's the joke Ware had in the dojo. I'm like, what? So they knew they couldn't live there because there were two different ports, so they migrated here. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. So he was forced, according to him, to study both styles. So he learned when he was probably in his 30s, early 30s, like he hates working for somebody. So he wanted to do his own thing. So he took both styles, combined them the best he could, and created Saijutsu and Netjutsu. And he had some other styles, karate and kung fu was the main ones, but we had a little judo and some other stuff in there too. So we were known as thieves. The reason we're known as thieves. So let's say we're gonna shooter comes straight from here, come across. That's fine. But if you curl the fingers around, we'll learn from another style. Oh, this is actually more enforceable versus this. It has more give. So that's why when he sent us out to get our black belts, he goes, okay, you can take your test and everything. He goes, you're not done. I'm like, what do you mean you're done? He pointed to the door. He goes, go learn a style, earn your white belt. If they give a white belt, some places you have to earn your white belt. Some of them you have to earn your yellow belt or whatever colors distinguish. Earn your first belt and come back to me. Okay, I wanted to go on. And I was training. The guys look at me like, this is not the first time you've done this. Like, no, I never said that. I said I want to learn. I never said I'm white belt. And he says, how much do you want to learn to teach this class? I'm like, no, I don't want money, because I was there to learn to get my black belt, so to move to my next rank.
Right.
So it was a mixed experience. Even when I got older, I had opportunity to start teaching again. But I didn't really care about teaching as much. I cared about learning. So the agreement me and an instructor has, I'll teach, you teach me your style. And that's where my Okinawa grounds got a little bigger. And a style called Vion Fujitsu, I started learning that. I'm like, ooh, stick fighting. Ooh, this is similar to my style. But I can modify this to this. Ooh, I like how this is going. When you start talking on people's arms and start doing follow-ups, I'm like, oh, we didn't do that in Mr. Ray's. And then I called him, like, Master Ray, this and this before he passed away. He goes, are you cool? Like, I'm happy. He goes, he was jumping up and down like, finally, one of you boneheads actually fucking listened to me. You actually learned something from a different instructor. He goes, I actually know Master V. I'm like, you know Master V? He goes, yeah, I know Master V. I'm like, how do you know him? His original school was in Brooklyn. We're like skipping the way to only island over, because we were in Queens. There was there's nothing. Right. He's a great guy. And I seen pictures of Master V was 5'1", 110 pounds, and he used to throw around 6'2", 300 pounds guys who were literally in ease, not even bothered, not even breaking their sweat. I'm like, I want to do that. So it always fascinated me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So to summarize, part of your diversity came from one, your teacher basically forcing you before you got your black belt or whatever, forcing you as part of your getting your degrees to go out and learn other things, but then just to your own interest. Because that was again one of the questions. Again, what approach did you use in terms of choosing to study a different style or what have you? It was just something that you liked, you found interesting, and basically in exchange for them teaching you that style, you would then in turn you would teach them your style, and that's how you got knowledge from different styles going
correct
going forward as well. So so that's interesting.
Paul, before you get go ahead, you go ahead. My bad.
Again, joining us tonight also we have Black David, aka Canadian Born. Good to see you, my brother, to join this discussion. And
I'm glad to be here for the part 2, because I think we need to bring Mandrell, and you brought him out from not the man cave, from the marriage cave. And I was like, that's enough.
He needed a break. He need to pull him out for a minute. But don't be look. I know he's racing to get back in there, so we can't hold him too long tonight, because he's got to get back in there. So we understand we have to.
I mean,
by end of the night.
respect the man making his marital nest.
I know.
So this
But
is this.
you're telling me right now the earthquake that we had in New York City actually hit for that BMU vote?
Yeah, he blames Mandrell. He blames the earthquake we had in the Northeast on you and your activities, man. So
Oh, okay.
So hey, hey,
I'll take it.
this is what this sounds to me. Actually, he's going, Coach. Let me back in, Coach. Let me go. I got it, Coach. I got it. Let me go. Let me go. Let me in. Let me in, Coach.
I said I'm gonna use that on him when he come back on the show. I was like, yo, BMU. I know I blame you for the earthquake. I had to blame Mandrell this time because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not his fault this time.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, good to have you guys on. Good to have you guys on the show. It really is.
Yeah.
We're actually, Dave. We're kind of getting early into this thing. So before I continue on, I want to give you a chance to catch up a little bit. Why don't you briefly just introduce yourself, in particular, your martial arts journey? When did you start, and the specific disciplines that you practiced over the years, or just a high level, just to kind of bring you into the conversation. Then we'll continue with the open questions we have for everyone. So I just want you to
I
introduce
am
yourself.
I am CBN Tector, if you know that Black David. The art that I did practice, I was a part of it called Shito Karate. So I started taking classes back in my junior high school days back in Nigeria. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt like that training was a brutal boot camp because for one, it wasn't like you go to some kind of dojo or some kind of thing. I felt like you're going to the old school way they did back in Japan. Under the hot ass sun, we're not allowed to wear no shoes, to be barefooted on a concrete ground. And I know man they're gonna laugh, but to smell your feet cooking on hot concrete ground under the sun, it's not a cool ass thing at all. It was not.
Right.
Hey man, it's your fault for being in Africa.
Screw you, man.
I knew that was going to come at some point.
You're in Africa. What do you think was going to happen?
Oh my gosh.
I don't. But just like my dream, but the thing is, I did it for almost 3 years while I was in Nigeria, and it was a great experience. We started off with 30 students in the class, went down already to like 9 because I didn't know that the type of martial arts that I would take would be the kind of one that weed out the weaklings.
Right.
And I'm sure Gumi understand it very, very well. We have people talk, oh, I can do that. You get into class, the first 3 months, the people that you saw start with you in the class, you start to see them doing them one by one. You're like, oh shoot, like,
right.
What the hell? It's like you're trying to audition for the team. That's exactly how this felt. And a lot of people could not take the beating because, for one, imagine this one. We had to do 10 laps around the body in the broad daylight with our barefoot. That's 10 laps. After doing 10 laps,
we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. So you started in Nigeria in middle school in a particular karate discipline. Okay, so
and I graduated that one in high school.
David, before you go ahead, can you raise the camera a little bit because your head is like chopped off?
My head? Oh, my bad. Let me touch the camera. I'm not on my main PC. So
there you go.
There you go. So
here's the thing. I did that in high school, graduated. When I came back to the U.S. and I heard about UFC. Now, UFC was something back then was kind of barbaric, but they changed it when I took over. I to audition for the UFC several times when they had the audition in New York City. And for some reason, I was mad with myself. I keep missing them. They had a few other tryouts in Long Island, and there are a few other tryouts in Manhattan, and I missed both of them, so I was real bad. So I'll be in the gym training, going through my routine, training for other things, and I have some guy you call coach. He was trying to convince me not to try. I'm like, why? What's wrong? I'm like, he said, I said, trust me, it's meant for me. I need to find a place I can release my rage. Because I had a huge amount of rage I have built over the years. And I was thinking, one, I do not want to get locked up. I'm in New York City. You do not want to get into a fight. And they find out you practice a certain art out here.
Right.
Either you're in wrestling or you're in the military or you're boxing. Any of these combat sport and your hand is registered or not registered, it spells trouble. Especially in a city like this. So I was not going to do something. And what I did, I like to avoid fighting as much as I can because I have a a fuse. It takes a while to lit, but when it's lit, it's hard to calm down.
Right.
I recall a few times I did some extenuating when I end up body slamming people, power bomb, almost broke somebody's arm off his shoulders. I put someone into a mission hole just out of
Mm.
nowhere. It's just, it's like when you have a discipline and you try your best to avoid anything that will trigger you. When you get to that place or getting triggered, I come, I completely black out in a rage whereby it look controlled, but it's not. It's
Mhm.
like it's like I haven't bullseye or what joint to tear off your body,
Mhm.
and I want to do it in a way unheard of. That would go through my head, and I
Mhm.
don't like that feeling because it
Right.
scared the hell out of me.
Right. Now,
But
now,
man,
now,
I
just
had
to,
to, I had to blame Mandrell for reminding me this, but you say you African people are crazy. And I say I'm not crazy, but
right.
see, it's not
Right.
his.
All right, so let's stay on let's stay on script. So again, you started with a Nigerian in Nigeria with a karate discipline. You came to the States. You
Mhm.
continued to practice that discipline. Were there other schools? Were there other? And I know you said you tried to get into MMA, but other martial arts disciplines that you acquired along the way, or did you pretty much stay within the karate realm for the bulk of your?
I stay within the karate well, and I continue to practice because what I was a part of was not something so easy to find. Shichu is one of the original five in Japan,
Hmm.
and there's not many Shichu dojo in the U.S. When I
Hmm.
was googling for that, they looked over on the internet for years. The only Shichu dojo that was available was either between Las Vegas, Nevada, or California. I was like,
Hmm.
what?
Yeah.
You see a lot of Shotokan karate. Like, Okinawa karate was also rare as
Hmm.
well in the U.S. You don't
Hmm.
see it a lot.
It's all Okinawan karate, unless you get some white dude with a dojo who just made his own thing up.
Hmm. Right.
There you go.
A
Yeah.
McDojo. But yeah, I remember telling Black David that. He told me what style he studied. I was like, that's one of the original five styles of karate, though.
Yeah.
Like one of
Pretty much.
from dating back to the Ryukyu Kingdom.
Hmm.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to find someone that practices out
It's
here.
hard. Yeah,
Right.
it's hard to find those everywhere because Shotokan's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
That's one of the five that sort of broke out, but the other ones,
Yeah, that's what.
to find.
Also,
Yeah.
yeah, keep in mind,
That's-
guys, back in when he first came to the States, probably in the early 30s, it wasn't a lot of styles back then. And like, only like, I think, was it 30s, 40s, and 50s, maybe 60s, 70s too. Judo was the most popular style in the United States at the time. And then 80s, Karate Kid had a big influence. We had a big transition for now. Kung Fu came in the picture. Now Judo came in the picture. Jiu-Jitsu
Don't
came in the
forget Chuck
picture.
Norris.
Right. Well, his was more like Korean, like almost like a twist on Taekwondo. But his was
Chen Gudo,
like-
actually, he studied under Bruce Lee.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
no. Well, he was already
Almost right, yes.
prior
Yeah.
to-
He did karate, but I didn't know exactly what style he was using.
Well, I think he created.
I'll look
his
it up right
own, I forget the name of it. He created his own.
If you call that style.
But I think but it has Korean roots. That I know for sure. His karate base. But Mandrell, so talk a little bit about your evolution. So you talked earlier how Mike Tyson was certainly a big influence on you, moving from the karate that your uncle was teaching you, and you got into boxing for a period of time, which we debated on another show on our gray area show, that whether or not boxing, wrestling, fencing are those technically martial arts.
All right, time out a second, Paul. So current online, he studied under karate. I apologize, I'm gonna butcher the name. I always butcher his name. Kenwundo, Judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Tensudo, and
that was his Tensudo.
yeah,
that was
yeah.
the one that he named that
Yep.
one. I think he crafted that one himself.
No, he crafted Chuck Tutu. That's his own style, and plus don't forget Bruce Lee Chenkudo also. We had his own style.
Yeah.
So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And not counting his, about 5 plus his is 6.
Gotcha. All right, so Mandrell, so pick it up then. You're in through college, pretty much. You're into boxing, but then you decided to get back into mixed martial arts, whatnot. What was the motivation? What led you back into, I would put in quotes, traditional martial arts? Because I believe that boxing and like I said, those other disciplines, wrestling. I think those are all forms of martial arts, combative fighting.
They are.
To a degree.
I agree.
So, but you're getting back into the more traditional martial arts disciplines. What was the motivation for that? Given your background in karate and boxing at that time, what made you decide to explore out and look at these other disciplines? What was the motivation, you think?
Well, part of it was Bruce Lee and him saying how important it was. I read the story about the fight he had because the triads didn't want him to teach Americans.
Yeah, the Guaylo.
The Guaylo. Us. You know, you can't teach the Guaylo. But it was. I remember seeing that in that movie, of course. But then I saw a documentary where Linda was talking about it, and I was like, okay. And at the end of that fight, Bruce won, but he said, "See, had I been." He was pissed off at himself because the fight took too long.
Yeah.
And he's like, had I taken boxing, I'd have thrown hooks and uppercuts, and I would have nailed him. And so that's when Bruce Lee started learning different martial arts as opposed to just Wing Chun. And so that was part of it. Okay, okay, it's important for me to learn different things. Okay, so let me try this, try that. But I fell in love with boxing because you can hit people and you can get hit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Karate, they wouldn't let you do full contact. Boxing, they would.
Right.
But getting back, what made me get back into it?
Yeah.
Was okay. I gotten really good at boxing. You know, I understood that, and I wanted to get back to using my full body as opposed to focusing on just heavily on one. You know, heavily on one. Boxing just mostly hands.
Yes.
Very little feet in boxing. Your feet are to movement and generating power.
Right.
But and that's pretty much it. So I want to get back to using my full body, and that's what brought me back to it. So I tried out Wing Chun, and I was like, after doing it for 3 years, I was like, yeah, no wonder Bruce Lee you need something else apart from Wing Chun.
Yeah.
It's very streamlined, one-dimensional, and it's like, okay, if you mix this with boxing, though, that's why I stuck with it for so long, for 3 years.
Right.
I saw its value from day one. The first day I was there and we were practicing drills, I'm like, okay, I see the value here. The arm trapping, the hand speed, being so close to someone and to be able to generate some margin of power here.
Right.
And actually hurt someone from such a close distance. I saw the value immediately, so I stuck with it for a long time. And a lot of it was figuring out how to mix that with the boxing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And take out all of the things that were not good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like some of the stances, you know, I'm like, no, if you put this in if I stand in a boxing stance or karate stance, much more effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what made me stick with it. I saw its value. Then comes the Muay Thai kickboxing and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is because, okay, I've always been good at striking. That's been my bread and butter. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to get rusty or anything like that because even in the school I go to for MMA, I'm not just doing Muay Thai. You know what I'm saying? Right. There's a lot of boxing and and karate, and people are like, what the hell is that? And I nail people all the time.
Right.
Like people actually actively avoid me in the school. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't want to spar. I beat people up. Yeah. It's like okay, and it's because it's a mixture of everything. Then I'm throwing in the Muay Thai in there. I mean, they don't know when it's coming. Right. You know what I mean? And that's being able to mix all that together. You know what I'm saying? It makes you fully loaded. So I like being a fully loaded fighter.
Right.
And then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was just, I got in there and I tried the wrestling. Mm-hmm. And even with my superhuman strength compared to everybody else, I was still getting tapped out.
Right.
So the first night I was like, I need to learn this now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the thing with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're going to have two different people on night one. Those who are like, yeah, screw this, man. I'm tired of getting beat up. Or other people who are like, I need to learn this now.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have two different. So those are the two different types of people who try BJJ. And the thing is, like, if you're in a fight and the other person knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you do not, you're done. End of story. You stand no chance because even they out wrestle wrestlers. I was getting out wrestled. I was getting taken down. I was getting flipped over. You know what I mean? I was like, there wasn't a thing I could do about it because I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Let me add a quick one because I was in college. I'm glad he mentioned that. They had a mixed martial art club. The guy who was supervising the club was in jiu-jitsu. And what he did to me was so embarrassing. Even like he said, superhuman strength. I had superhuman strength.
Mm.
But you know how embarrassing that is? That you had karate, you had this strength, you think you got the upper edge,
Right.
and this man pinned you down. You cannot get up. Imagine I know that few people in jiu-jitsu, they don't want to embarrass or do embarrass. This guy actually want to give me a drink on the vending machine. I'm struggling. This guy is looking at me down on the ground, got his can drink, drinking his drink in front of me, and I'm losing my cool, trying to get up. I don't know what he did to me, but I cannot move.
Mm.
And why in jiu-jitsu, they know how to make you feel small.
Right. Right.
You could be the biggest man. Once they pin you down in a certain unique technique, there's no getting up.
Right.
They're gonna sit right there on you, look at you struggling.
Right.
And I wish I studied it, but I didn't get a chance to study jiu-jitsu.
I was gonna follow up with that. So again, so based on your experience looking at these different styles, and what did it motivate you to study something else? But I guess you're saying you didn't get an opportunity to go and explore more. That I need to not be so locked into this one way of doing things. I need to look into other disciplines. You didn't get necessarily the opportunity to do that, at least not as much.
I try as much as I can while I was in college because everybody who came to join the club came from different practice. I did jiu-jitsu with karate. We had someone from South Korea who is in Taekwondo, which is very unique.
Mhm.
Then this one doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This one doing something, and kind of like we all share what we learned. And I had to learn how to hold a nunchuck better from the guy from Taekwondo because he could do double hand. I want to do single. I couldn't do what they were doing, and I had to learn from each one. So while I was there, I only get as much as I can. I wish I had Mandrell opportunity. I would have been there 24/7, non-stop.
Right.
Because, like he said, totally correct. Jiu-jitsu is needed. Karate, what I study is just there's not much grappling in there. In karate,
right.
It's very limited.
Right.
And we have Brazilian jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu. They're both almost mirror image of each other.
Gotcha.
Well, let me jump in here for a second.
Into my next question, then, and this may apply more to Mandrell in grooming.
Paul, before we move on, let me put an insert. So, one thing Mandrell is really right. Like, one style is not enough in your arsenal. So, as much karate is very good stance-wise, but it's very boxy style. So you have to use another style that's more, moving around like boxing. You're on your toes, always moving around. So you have to open your arsenal. People say, "This is my style. This is my best style. That's it." They're like those horses that wear those little things and like running. You can't be like that in martial arts. You have to open your. That's where when they first introduced the UFC and it was like the Wild Wild West in the UFC, headbutting, biting, spitting, whatever, everything goes. That actually showed you who was a real martial artist back then. Because if you're a real martial artist, you know where you're going in there and like you look at your girl. I might be coming back, but I love you. If I do, I might become a half a man. And you're going in there.
That's some pretty gruesome stuff. Now look at it now compared to back then, and that was pretty gruesome. I can understand why New York City was about to outlaw it because.
Let me ask you a question to everybody. Does anybody know what was the original foundation of the UFC?
In what context?
Okay, so the UFC was originally the World Martial Art Tournament, and it was literally the name was any style can go into it. The final round always was in Madison Square Garden by the World Martial Art Federation. They went out of business, and Dana White bought it out and turned it into UFC, and that's how it was. And back then there was.
I thought not to get too far off subject, but then I think. Either were the Gracies already involved at that point when he bought them, or did he bring them in? Did they come in later?
They started it. No, they started it. Because back in the 90s, the first one was called the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
That's where UFC comes from. Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Yep, that's correct.
Grooming is right.
I understand it was mostly used. The reason why they started it was they wanted to essentially demonstrate and prove. To prove
that their jiu-jitsu is the best,
of BJJ. They were saying like it's the superior style because again for all these guys coming in from wrestling and boxing, all these things, they were getting tapped out essentially and that it kind of introduced the world, at least to the masses anyway, about Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
And it worked because no one knew what was going on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no one knew it. No one knew it. Listen, Horace Gracie. Here's how crazy that got. Originally, it was supposed to be Rickson Gracie to go into a UFC, right? Mm-hmm. But they were like, no, Rickson looks like he can whip your ass. And if you see Rickson back then, they're correct.
He was a big guy.
They're correct. Yeah, they're correct. Rickson looks like he can fight.
Yeah.
Hoist looks very unassuming. He's skinny, much skinnier.
Yeah, he was.
Because Rickson Gracie is the family champion. He's like he's over 400 fights undefeated throughout his life, right? But Hoist looks very unassuming, small guy. So it's no, let's let Hoist do it. And he did. And sure enough, this unassuming guy gets in there. But again, nobody knew what was happening.
Right.
They're the only ones who knew it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's, you know.
He took out one, the guy called Kimi. I forgot his name. He looked like he's mixed Asian, but he was huge. And the fact that Hoist Gracie tapped this guy out, I was like, okay, there was a different weight class. This guy is from heavyweight division. And Hoist Gracie looked like he's like middleweight. If it's like middleweight or flyweight, that was unheard of. But
he was like 170, 175. Hoist Gracie was.
That's middleweight then. That middleweight class. So you can imagine that size and
awesome. All right, so grooming. You kind of started this. So again, this question may apply more to you and Mandrell. What surprised you most about when you started exploring all these different martial arts disciplines? What did you really get out of it besides just an effective style? What was the biggest surprise from all this exploration? What did you learn about yourself? I would add that little spin on it as well. From this diversity of disciplines, what would you say, Groom, if you want to lead it off?
What I learned the most is your mind, your body has more they can offer you think. When you think you cannot do it, you can break those odds. Mm-hmm. And I already walked into a dojo behind the 8 ball because of my disability. When you start adding, my instructor was a big fan. Like, okay, we're going to count in Japanese. Like, oh, I'm already struggling to speak Greek and English. Now you're adding a third language out of me. And like, even making hard. Like, and when you start learning the little stuff, like, he never really didn't care about the language as much. He just wanted you to know the fundamentals. You never know. You might be an hour learning with the masters. He goes, you didn't ever know why. But when I was starting learning that, it taught me to break the odds. I cannot sit there and tell you guys how many times people called me stupid. Even current my job to now. People have called me stupid, moron, idiot, whatever, because I have a hard time reading. But I'm one of the best cooks for a reason, because I don't know how to give up. I'm at a point in my career looking for a new job right now. Not job when cooking. I want to explore a different opportunity business-wise. Mm-hmm. But my martial art backs me up again. It says, when I say I cannot do it, and the little bird comes like, little master ring, like, Kriko-san, that's how he used to call me sometimes, or Peter-san, he goes, you can do it. And the other one goes, you can't. And he goes, yes, you can, kind of thing. So I know I can do it. So what surprised me the most over the years is every time I struggle on a technique, that has become my strongest technique. Like, I struggle with, I was never really good at first of joint locks, grappling. Now, if I get my hands on you, I'm breaking bones. I'm gonna torque you till you're crying, till your mama, and you become sperm again. That's how much I'm gonna torque. I'm good at that. Striking is not my strong issue. It used to be when I was a kid. Now, I know I'm getting old and fat, so I'm going what benefits me. Because my height, like me and you, man, Paul, you're taller than me. A taller guy has a distance. So if I take that distance away from you, and now I have you in my hand and trying to talking you, oh yeah, my cousin's a great example. My cousin's about 6'5", 350 pounds, right? And he looked at me straight in my face. He goes, your martial arts mean shit to me. I can kick your ass any day of the week. I went, lads, get out of my face, dude. I'm going to knock you the fuck out. He was egging me. I go, next thing you know, he's on the ground. He's on top of me. I want him on the top of me. Next thing I know, now I have him flipped, and I have an advantage. And I'm talking him, and he's like, that's not fair, dude. You're usually... I'm like, Why? Well, it's not fair. In a street fight, it's no rules. It's no referee. Whoa, shh, red flag, red flag, red flag. No, it's not going to happen like that. It's, the only thing that's going to stop you is the cops or somebody's going to be knocked the fuck out. So I prefer neither, because I don't want to get in trouble. But if a time happened like that, I know I can defend myself.
Right.
And that's what surprised me. Like Major, how much you weigh? Give or take.
Now 214.
214. Do you think your weight has anything to do in a fight between me and you?
Yes.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
something to do with it? Yeah.
That's where me going to disagree with. I don't think weight has anything to do with it. I don't think it's technique, to be honest with you.
Oh, here's the thing. It does help if I outweigh you. Now, it helps if you outweigh me, then my weight is at my disadvantage, because it's the difference between a brick that weighs 2 pounds and a brick that weighs 15 pounds. One's going to hit harder than the other. And that's it's physics. You know what I'm saying? That's why they have weight classes. But as far as if a guy outweighs me and my technique is better, then I agree with you there. If someone outweighs you by 50 pounds, your technique is better, you do have a chance of beating that dude up.
I'll be straight with you, dude. I have exciting matches.
Yeah, you do.
It matches where the guy outweighed me by 50 pounds, and when I clocked him one, and he looked at me afterwards after the match was over, dude, you hit me harder than my own weight class. Right. I'm like, because my technique was on point.
Actually, let's get to this. I have a follow-up question on that.
You go.
This is something that in boxing we debate all the time. Mandrell, so in what surprised you most in your study of all these disciplines over time? Where did you learn most about yourself? Was there anything about this that surprised you through the study of all these things that you wouldn't realize had you not gone to that course that you had taken on?
Oh, it has something surprised me. Yeah, the fact that I can push myself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For example, in other words, I don't have to give up. Mm-hmm. Don't the whole thing. Don't give up. Your body might feel tired. You might feel sore. You might be in pain, but you can still push forward if need mm-hmm. to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Yeah, this sucks. It sucks. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Mm-hmm. And that stuck with me. Again, I went to Special Forces Selection. Yeah. Made it. And I thought all I had to do was utter 2 words to make the pain stop. I quit. That's all I had to do. And it would have been nothing personal. They people who quit, okay, cool, no problem. Grab your gear, let's go.
Right.
Nothing, you know what I'm saying? No punishment, nothing.
Right.
To get your food, water, hot shower, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But no, I didn't. And it was.
So do you think your martial arts training had a lot to do with just that mindset?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you go, because I would think that you getting through Special Forces is arguably more than getting a belt or any kind of a traditional advancement in the martial art. Going through that process to join, or if it's Navy SEAL, no shit on the Navy, but Navy SEAL, whatever those high elite forces are, mm-hmm. that those are like the ultimate in human endurance and everything that goes on. But you credit your martial arts background and discipline to helping you get through those challenges? I do.
Wow. I do, because I was faced with that before. Like, hey, I could quit.
Right.
You know I'm getting beat up over here. I'm sitting on a stool in the corner in the ring. I can just tell, hey man, I quit.
Right.
No. You know what I mean? So yeah, I attribute it to that. I learned how to push through pain and adversity and test myself.
Yeah.
Through the martial arts. And I learned to enjoy it as well. To embrace it and enjoy it.
Right. The process of growth more so than the results that you get from
it. Exactly.
Indeed. Like Dave, I want you to get in there. So I know, again, you haven't had as much diversity, but what did you think you got? I know you talk about just your personality and the anger that you were dealing with. What did you think get out of the martial arts that maybe surprised yourself? Like, the discipline or what have you, what do you think you got out of your practice that you wouldn't have had, or imagine yourself if you did not have that, what kind of outcome do you think
I would say
if you didn't have it?
Before I started taking mixed martial arts, I only have a small amount of discipline, but it would eager me to pop off. But just like manager, when you take martial, for example, Chito karate, what it does, it kind of like, but a next level of awareness. Now, it allowed me to endure pain far more longer than most people would do. That's the thing about you take the, how I would say, taking the real martial art practice, it teach you how to increase your pain threshold. How much can you take? How much
Mhm.
can you put yourself through? Not only I was able to discipline myself, I was doing a lot of crazy stuff. I took a lot of sport after karate. I did soccer. Soccer was kind of easy for me. I did weightlifting. I was pushing my limit, and I didn't know I can push it. I was in all kind of different sport, and I found out it was like it felt like I was cheating. To be honest with you,
Right.
it felt like that. When I hear man just say Mick Martin helping to get into the military, now mind you, I was trying to join the Navy when I came here. I was thinking I'm not joining the Navy still, but I missed it because I didn't pass the hearing test. So I was thinking, okay, I was going in there. I'll see that I can find my practice and closer. I just continue my practice, then just climb the way and see how far I'll go. That was my agenda, but
Right.
I didn't get in.
Right.
So it does increase a level of discipline, but it allowed me to keep my anger and my rage in check for a very long time. Because
Right.
for one, when you're trained in martial art, mixed martial art, you're trained to be a weapon right
Mm.
off the back. And that's the thing. And when
Right.
you have a good sensei, and I call him coach, I call him sensei, and what they would teach if you follow through, you start to notice within yourself, within your mind, within your
Right.
body is not the same anymore. You
Right.
know, certain thing you're gonna do is that dangerous. Okay, who been Kung Fu Panda on the show? uh, I'm just it. I remember high school when I was doing the training. I was breaking wooden locker with my fist with
Mm.
a thick as this
Mm.
with one shot. I didn't think I could ever do that, and it
Mm.
happened.
Right.
All the training, come on, you doing knuckle push up on concrete ground under the sun. You do all the jogging, do all the exercise routine, push it through. You would think it's killing you. No, it's just making you stronger.
Mm.
You got to realize how strong you really are. You got to be afraid of it. I don't think be afraid, but it kind of give you that level of awareness. Like, okay, I can just go out and just fight just anybody. No, I need to just keep my peace, just avoid small fights as much as I can, which I did for many years.
Gotcha.
I try not to get into a fight because I was
Right.
afraid if I get
Well,
into
all
a
right.
fight.
Now let me follow up on this. Just kind of keep this phone a little bit, and this is for you personally. Did your teachers, your senseis, whatever, did they recognize and see that anger that was sort of built up in you, and did they ever like pull you aside to not only just teach you the discipline, but did they try to work on your mindset in
Yeah,
terms of how can you dissipate that anger? Because I think in any endeavor, well, I don't care if you're playing football, wrestling, whatever it is, a good coach is somebody who's going to be able to recognize in the pupil beyond just the physical. There's something going on, with you, how's your home life, whatever it is. They take that interest in you to as a person just as much as you need to just learn this. So, were your senseis were they sensitive to your personal struggles, and did they give you anything in addition to the training to help you overcome that?
I remember my center pulled me apart and he spoke to me about. He said he saw something in me doing the training that he said he could pick that I was having some anger and I sat down and explained what I was going through.
Mm.
So what he did, he taught me the breathing technique whereby I can do in private,
Mm.
but make sure I'm not being disturbed. So it's like he did it for everybody, but he told me the thing about it, the secret to master, you have to pay attention to your breathing more and just empty your mind out. So I'll do
Mm.
that a lot of time when I feel like I'm having a bad moment. I'll
Mm.
go to a room or something, just sit on a desk, fold my leg, and just focus on my breathing.
Mm.
Take it slow and very, very deep. When I did that for a good couple of minutes, it's like whatever was building up, it just dropped. And I did that for many years.
Wow.
So it kind of like, when I say I was a ticking bomb,
Mm.
I I remember one time I thought I was able to control my anger when I was doing the breathing. It was going on, and I lost it, and I was mad with myself. I the building like my high school, my country were built by cinder block bricks.
Right.
I put almost a 16-inch crack in the wall with my fist. After punching the wall more than 20 times, my fist was not even swollen. But when I was punching the wall, I didn't realize the strength I had was too much. I was shaking the wall within my classroom and the next classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in front of me and behind me got up from the desk and jumped to the side. They were scared. So a teacher came out of the classroom and asked what was going on. No one said anything. I was left alone in my desk in my own role, just trying to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mad at myself. When I calmed down, I looked at the wall and saw how long the crack was. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't supposed to snap like that. But I
Right.
was more, it's more like, it now let me know that, okay, what I'm learning is not something you to fight with anybody because everybody come to my desk after and keep looking at the clock. You're like, they go, you might get in trouble for this. I let tell everybody, like, shh. So I was sitting in my classroom, sit right next to the wall, so no one would notice it.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout my whole year, I was in that school. And that clock was 16-inch long crack. Me punching it. And I was in my mind, if I would have continued to punch it, somebody came in and stopped me, I could have put a hole in the wall, and that would have made it even worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how scared I was. I was like, okay, this is not normal. I need to find it. And I went to my center, told them about it. They keep on practicing. Do that every morning, every night. Do your breathing technique and make it part of your life.
Gotcha.
And I did that throughout my 20s because I came from a very troubled background and I had too much frustration. And when they get to me, I didn't realize I could utilize it for exercise, which I did later on in my 20s. I started going to the gym, spent like 5, 6 hours a day in the gym, which was madness.
Mm.
I didn't get huge like put up a hole. I just got condensed.
Right.
But I was still doing the training and I was like avoiding anybody and everybody. I keep a low profile. I ain't trying to get in no fight. I ain't trying to get in no trouble. Whenever I get into a fight, the level of superhuman strength I have just come out of nowhere. And whenever I get into a fight, I'm never happy with myself. I say, I'm not supposed to fight.
Right.
I don't need to fight because I may hurt someone.
Yeah.
Well,
Let me spin that a little bit because you're kind of going to my next question here for the panel. Here.
Paul, before we go forward,
yeah.
so you understand, a lot of people who know your martial arts, I've been bullied so much because of that reason. They poke the bear. I'll give you two good examples. When I first got injured my knee of a tournament, and I just moved in PA from New York, I had my dojo shirts on, just a regular shirt. I didn't even think anything of it. The captain of the football team thought he was going to fuck with me. Well, yeah, that's a big mistake. His head went straight forward into a dumpster because we had the big dumpsters in the cafeteria, the garbage cans, excuse me. So that's one case. Second occasion was when I was at work, somebody was like egging on me. I was working on cars at the time. I was a mechanic, egging me on. And I go, dude, we have, in my style at least, 3-foot rule. You break that 3-foot rule, your ass is mine. And his ass is mine, of course. I'm gonna leave it at that. But like David was saying, like people keep pushing their boundaries with us. Like as martial arts, even boxers. I don't care what style it is. When we say martial arts, like we don't start the fights, but we will finish it. No problem about it. Like even people say, "Oh, well, you think you're tough?" Like, no, I don't think I'm tough. I'm just being me. I enjoy the art. I enjoy the style. Just keep that in mind when you meet a martial artist. Not you personally, just in general. Because if you poke the bear, the bear usually bites, and he bites back hard.
Right. So, one question I have here is: we talk about when the term martial arts to the general public. There's oftentimes a lot of misconceptions about martial arts, and so what do you how do you dispel some of those misconceptions about it, especially given what you just shared, your personal stories about how people have, again, messed with you and bullied you and whatnot and driven you to a point. Now, again, one of the things we talk about martial arts is supposed to be about this discipline and things of that nature. But what myths about martial arts would you want to dispel regarding its practice in terms of the attitudes of the people or whatever? Because a lot of times, especially I think now it's more accepted, but back in the day, like it's kind of going back to that Karate Kid area. Is you just want to take martial arts just to beat somebody up. That kind of attitude. So
let me see
what would you want to dispel about martial
David, you want to go first?
What would you want people to know about that?
All right, let David go first.
I think some of the myths that I hate is based on TV, because they think that because you took karate or anything, if you go to fight somebody, you will come out like "Hiya!" like you will be screaming every now and that thing. I swear to God, that thing was one of the most annoying thing possible. And when I came back to the state, you hear the Karate Kid jokes: wax on, wax off, wax on, and I was like, I'll walk away and I'll be like, I tell you, we people who practice karate, 9 to 10, they don't like to really tell you guys. If you ask me, I will share with you. I'll show you the origin with it and how difficult that is, because Shicho karate, if you want to meet the master, you got to fly to Japan. And it's mostly by invitation. You can't just go and just show up there. Even going with you, understand that very, very well. The 5 original, you don't just pop up there. You just cannot. You have to be invited. You don't come to these people dojo without no invitation. It's like, no, they don't play that game. It's not a joke. So when I was out here trying to find it, and I was in the college, and people found out I was doing. Now there was a time when I was doing my training in college, I was able to do the full split like John Van Dam, but I don't do it in public. I just do that in hiding. I'll be in the gym, hoping that there's nobody in there. Now it was very annoying. I don't know why. When I was in the gym in the bicycle room, just doing my stretching and then doing my flick, I realized when you don't do it for a long period of time, you do your flick. I was doing it in my 20s.
Yeah.
I hated when girls would come in there and they saw me doing a full split, and instead of going somewhere else to go and do the exercise, they'll go right behind my back, and I can almost tell I have a bunch of eye watching. I'm looking at them like really, what's going on here? And that should be really annoying. But all the other guys thought that when you do martial art, you have anger issues. You will beat up people. That was one of the most annoying myths. The sound effect they'll make about you doing karate, that you make all that move, what I don't do, or the fact that they think that you show out to beat people on purpose. Though I have to feel. I think it's a discipline. It's not something you're supposed to use to just fight people. Don't get me wrong, it has the tremendous health benefit behind it. Right. That's something people don't. Anybody who practice your authentic martial art, you will realize what they put in your body through. It's almost like training and conditioning your body to be next level strong, whereby you're almost impervious to pain. But the level of flexibility, what it does, it teaches a level of difficulty to cherish your body more than trying to abuse it.
Right.
That's the uniqueness behind it, but a lot of people don't catch on to it until later on.
Gotcha. Mandrell, you still with us? You in the background, or you just did he leave?
Let me check. He's not left, but his camera's off. So let me go really fast. Okay. I want to push back a little bit, David, here. Go. So people who say he don't have anger, a lot of students I met through the dojo started with anger issues coming in. So you're going to have, like, one of my first students, Ray. Donnie was an angry kid. I'm gonna lie to you, because he was banned from his parents, and his twin brother was the most quiet, soft kid. It was yin and yang, literally both of them. They were not identical twins, but they were twins. So when I saw his anger, just like that, literally a switch can set him off. I just look at him like, he goes, "What the fuck are you looking at?" I'm like, first of all, don't talk to me like that, and 2, I'm your sensei, so shut the fuck up. So anger, it is an issue there. Now, some of those myths. You're not gonna be finding beam cannons or flying in the air or doing chakra like Naruto, having like clones coming out of you, all that shit. Let's get that out of the way. There is a thing called the unforbidden jujitsus, meaning the unforbidden techniques. They're scriptures. I've seen some of the scriptures personally because I'm passed down from generation to generation to
Yeah, I
Master
remember we
Ray.
talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them say you can do a form of a beam form, but you can't see with a naked eye. Is it true or is it myth? I don't know, because I never tried it. But there are some things like say martial arts have trained so much, like the Tai Chi masters, the real masters. They can literally post the muscles and literally jump to the next point. Some of those are facts. Like you're not gonna sit there like conditioning the groin area, taking it back. Like, come on, pop, pop. No, you're not conditioning some things. Those are the myths that like. Or my favorite one is everybody knows the crank technique. I'm like, crank technique is not even a real technique. Let's get that out of the hair. It's a jump kick. That's all it is. It's a jump kick. And there's nothing special about it. I can teach even you, Paul, to do it literally in 30 seconds. That's how easy it is. So some of those techniques are myths. Now you see what movie was it? Never Back Down. You know, the guy, the way he was teaching, kicking the bag and go all across the room, 16 feet long. That's not possible. To be honest,
Right.
You might be able to kick it like
so
2 or 3
how much
feet.
do you think that the martial arts genre? And again, we talked about that last show. We all love again kung fu theater, karate theater. All those martial arts, the ninja movies and whatnot. They all show these martial artists doing like superhuman things, jumping off a 30-foot building or levitating in the air for different times. We all know about the wire work or whatnot. So do you think that has helped the image of martial arts, or has hurt the image of martial arts over time, given that it's portraying something that that seems to be physically it's impossible for some of these things to be done? So do you think it's helped to improve the image or add into the mythology that people have that it's some you become Superman or Superwoman if you
So I'm going to push back and say it's 50-50. So the reason I say 50-50, yes, it helps open people's mind to it is a martial arts. It is a style you want to learn. It's something different. You don't like weightlifting, but you love being active in a style like that. Let's say you're too old to box or do anything like that, but you still want to do some kind of combat, but you don't want to get physical too much. Martial arts is there for you. But those myths for those kids out there, like I remember teaching, and kids used to run up to me all the time. Can you do a triple backflip? Like, no, I'm not doing a triple backflip because that's not those thing. Or like can you do XYZ move? Like it's not. Or, can you do a spear bomb? That's my favorite one. Can you do a spear bomb from Dragon Ball Z? Like there's no such thing as spear bomb. Sorry.
Right.
So there is a 50-50 mix of it. So you have to know when to.
What do you think?
I would have to agree with him that the 50-50 mix, but if you want to go a little much deeper, certain art like kung fu or different type of kung fu, only those who have gone into it they fully understand what it is because it's not so simple. But there's because of the media when they portray karate movie, ninja movie, or the other stuff. We got a lot of people who make a mockery of things like it's just fake, like it's not something what it is. Until recently, you find people who was student of the art, and they mix it. What they did with Mandrel, they learn one platform and go to other platform and add on to it, and they partake in the promotion and they retired. And we just see on the news how some of these criminals made a mistake and trying to rob a person who actually who partake in anything, and you see the end result. It's,
Right.
it's not very normal. People didn't notice this though. There are a lot of retired MMA fighters that train in the military.
Right.
And that is legit.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand. It's not no showboating thing. It's something that I will always say. We don't. If you don't have PE in your school, have your kid get into some kind of martial art discipline, so that it keep them grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I see the kung fu, the flying, it's like the dragon. when people bring Dragon Ball Z and all this kind of anime into the mix, like is that thing legit? I think first and foremost, if we talk about kung fu and the jitsu and other stuff, there's a level of mystery that come with it. We want to go deeper in it. I'm
Hmm.
not going deeper because of my faith foundation,
Right.
so I'm
Right.
not going to have my thing be conflicting. That
Right.
is something you have to do on your own journey.
Got you.
Every art have its own history and their root. That no different. People want to get into Thai boxing. It does have a religious background inside it, besides kung fu and
Hmm.
karate, etc. Every art have its own origin,
Hmm.
nor its history, nor its root. Something you may not understand because we're in the age of technology. You know, you do everything on Google, everything. We think everything you see on the internet is for real. Maybe it's
Hmm.
not. Maybe it's something that's not meant to be on the internet because you're not going to comprehend.
Right.
That's just something I always know.
Right. One thing
Until
I would say this, again, just from my observation, again, not again ever being a practitioner. One thing I would say from those I knew who practiced it seriously, the perception was is that the person was a little bit aloof. If you notice, like Kung Fu, the series, David Carradine, he was kind of like this quiet guy, kind of stayed to himself, very not necessarily the people person, not the party person, not like you're gonna sort of stick out from the other kids. The kids who were into football, baseball, whatever. The guy who was serious about his martial arts, he wasn't necessarily into the gen pop culture or the sports. There was always something about those individuals where they were kind of a little bit to themselves, a little bit. Now, again, it could be just the individual. Maybe they were shy to begin with, and certainly the study of martial arts gave them something that they can, really hone in on. And because it is such an individualistic type of endeavor, that it suited their personalities. But that might be something that maybe contributes to some of the, where like some people don't necessarily understand because like I said, the persons that I've known over the years who've really been serious students, they're not going to be the party guys. They're not going to be or the party girls for that matter. So what
I'll
do you
speak
what do
on
you, what do
that.
you think of that kind of perception that martial arts kind of makes you a little bit you know
Humble.
or off? Again, it depends on who's looking at you. If it's how the general population sees you versus how those in the dojo see you. You could just come off, as you said, a very just a humble individual, but people may say that he's a little different. It's like, or you got to be a little bit careful around him or her because you don't know what response you're going to get, or they're not going to be, you know, quote unquote normal. I mean, what do you think of that kind of?
I would say that it does put that type of allure over you when you get into serious. You don't really be so outward to it because the thing about martial arts, it's more of a discipline.
Yeah.
And when I say it's more of a discipline, it's no, it's I can't say it's like joining the military, but it feels that kind of way, and it really puts you a level of commitment whereby you're not joking around with this art. You want to make sure you
Right.
master it.
Right.
And the more you go deeper into it, the more you start to feel as if that you have to be loyal.
Well, yeah.
Not
Well, it's like, essentially, you said military. I look at it more like a monk, like you've joined a monastery, so to speak, right? And again, and how many times we've seen the image of the monk? He's got the beads. He's walking around with the robe on and stuff, and he's like,
I'm
very
not.
tough
I'm
with his
not.
work.
I'm not going to argue with that one, but it does come off. I know Boomy don't want to say that it's so, but I'm sure he's been through that same mode. When I took it, I was feeling like a monk at one point. I had to be this. I had to watch my diet. I got to watch what I eat. I cannot mess up with my grade. It was kind of like that monkey personality started to come on you without you realizing it. Shout out
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Michael. Shout out to Michael J. White. He mentioned how it did to him as well, and how he was so reserved because being a black guy into martial art,
mm,
and you get so deep in it. Now, it's funny how one of my managers I had to work for Santana Bank, his sensei was acting Michael J. White, and I got mad with him. I'm like, you trim with this dude? I'm like, He said, yeah. And he showed me the picture. I was like, oh, I hate you.
Mm.
And we talk about a lot of things. He took out Michael J. White. He's a very humble guy, but he's not a bullshitter.
Oh no,
He
not at all.
he will teach you things. He would like to educate you, but he don't got time for the shenanigans. So yeah, it's kind of like anyone who partake in martial art in a very serious level. It's hard not to say it's not so, but you have some kind of monkish
Yeah.
behavior
And
that
again,
it come
depending
upon
on the
you.
artist, like for an adult, they might be able to accept it more. But when you're a kid, when you're a teenager, and you're kind of like again to yourself, just the way young people think a lot of times, it's like it's something he's weird. It's
Oh,
like
it was like that for me in high school.
yeah,
I was not trying to get into a fight with anybody. Imagine me knocking down my own senior a couple of times. One of my
hmm
seniors joined our club, our martial art club,
hmm
and he wanted to spar with me. And I told him, I said, it's not gonna be a good idea. So he convinced me. Okay, we got into a sparring match. I had this guy on his back several times, and he's my senior, mind you. He's much bigger than me. And the way I was handling him, when you have a senior ego, when the ego
oh
get
yeah,
really bruised real
right.
bad. And it was see Gumi had to shake it. He been there. he been
Oh, way too many times. Way too many goddamn fucking times. I know firsthand.
I had to see he was big. I can't call him an ape, but he was kind of huge, muscle bound. And the way I had to get on his back several times,
Mhm.
everybody in the dorm was watching like, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. And I told him I didn't want to spar because it would make him look bad. He did not believe
Right.
it.
hmm
So I was so into my technique to the point where I'm trying to minimize the embarrassment. The guy was rushing me, so I did something that I wish I never did.
Right.
I did a John Clone Van Dam where you hold your leg out in the air and stay there. He was in
Yeah.
the air and he landed on it and he fell backward and I was like, see the face of you see the face that women
Yeah.
making it.
I can imagine.
That was the
Yeah.
look everybody was making when they saw it. They're like, oh,
Right.
that's not gonna sit too well.
Right.
I got a
And I
better
was
one for you.
like,
Yeah,
I
go
got
ahead,
a better
Brian. Yeah,
story.
put it. Yeah, share your thoughts on this, especially that whole monk-like element of it. That again, how you perceive, especially
So my teacher was not a monk, nowhere near. He was not an angel. He was a freaking archangel than anything. Because he I remember him like once you turn teen age, the filter came off on him. And his rule was like, listen, you're gonna learn how to curse. I'm cursing in my fucking class. And I remember the first time he dropped like Eva, but saying like, what are you, a pussy or a man? And he used to ghost of us, and like he was very strict, but he was no monk. And, like he didn't go same thing. We never did that. We didn't do. We had a little meditation, like meditation. He poked his eye up, like, okay, we're done. He hated meditation, so he was like the opposite of that. So I never really ran through that, but with the whole weird part, yeah, I was the most strangest kid in school. I'm proud of it. I was into heavy metal, anime, gunplay.
More your personality.
Yeah, but that gravitated from my karate stuff.
Okay.
Because I got introduced from the karate community, because that's the old Asian stuff I'm talking about, and like gunplay and anime and all that stuff. So when as much as I hated his teacher, she was right. One of my a couple of kids were talking shit behind my back. Nothing bad. It was just goofing around, kids being kids behind back. And my teacher turns around and tells him, and I was in the class that day. I think I was out sick or something. He goes, you better watch it. He can kick your ass. Like I'm like, what do you mean he's gonna kick your ass? He's a martial artist. Like next thing I know, all these kids are surrounding me. And we're like, what the fuck's going on here? I'm like, I thought you heard this and this. Like, yeah, so come on, show us a move. I'm not showing you move. Let's go on. You don't know what you're doing. Like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm not showing you moves. And simple as that, because showing off, it doesn't prove anything really. Gotcha. Like the old saying, like, oh, can you the bricks? My favorite one. Can you break a brick? Yeah, why? It doesn't hit back. That's my comment always. Yeah. Like, thank you, Mr. Miyagi, for that one. Actually,
exactly.
Like,
let's move into some detail here. I'm being also mindful of the time. And again, Mandrell, if you're still with us, certainly we'd love to have you back for this portion of the conversation. Let's get into some
the lady
details.
can't wait for you, man. Joe, come back.
Yeah. So let's get into some details about within the martial arts themselves. Let's talk about forms or katas. Uh, did you study those? How important do you think undergoing those? I know again, there's talk about that. I know Bruce Lee wasn't big on forms and katas and things of that nature. As he developed, he looked at martial arts as more again fighting. So I don't know how did the katas or forms, if you study those, how did it help you understand more or master the martial arts? So yeah, you guys can go and talk about your experiences with that. And
I
do
would
you think
say
do you
this
think they're important based on what you've done over the years? How important are they in the
from
course of studying a martial art?
from the Shitua background, it's kind of highly important because the thing about the kata is a combination of blocks, punching technique, kicking technique, and the stances. And even though you do that a lot of times, some people think it's a waste of time. It's really not really much of a waste of time because it's like it's like you're given that parable in the image, and the more you do it, the more you start to comprehend what you're actually doing, and it kind of like a level of discipline. It kind of like teaching your body, your muscle memory to adapt to some in case of any incident. It kind of like come out of you like second nature because you can learn a block, you can learn a punch, or any kind of technique that you're using, and you get to that everyday situation, something just happened. Subconsciously, you're not gonna be think about it, your body will react to it based on how often you practice over the period of time. I remember this movie, the Michael J. White acted in, and he would put to train his friend. I forgot the name of the movie, and they were making fun of him when he was practicing his kata.
I remember that. Yeah, I saw some clips of that. Yeah, that movie. Yeah.
And that movie was like a reminder like you don't want to make fun of people. You don't know what they have to train their mind and train their body what to remember because certain technique is very very vital on how you defend yourself, how you
Hmm.
help yourself in many kind of way. We don't
Right.
people think when we practice kata, that's how we're gonna fight. No, that's not the case.
Hmm.
Sometimes we don't want you to know that what we know, and when things happen, it will happen out of nowhere. You will see us in a stand, you wonder why, because it's something, it's not something to make fun of. It's no different from boxing or Greco wrestling. You have to
Right.
go to a routine, and you
Right.
have to repeat that thing several times over to your body remember it.
Hmm.
Same thing with kata. When we're doing kata, it training your body to
Hmm.
remember that feeling. Then
Hmm.
remember where you're doing it at. Remember what are you protecting? What are you maneuvering? Where are the best areas to practice it or to utilize the technique?
Hmm.
I'm not going to fight tomorrow doing a kata. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But
Hmm.
when it comes to a situation, if I want to minimize what I want to minimize and not let you know what I practice, it will come out of nowhere in split seconds.
Hmm.
God forbid if I had to do a wine house and you don't see it coming.
Right.
And we at least expected it.
Right.
So that's the thing. Hey,
Hey,
so
how you doing? Wife
this is
school.
why
Good to see you.
that's why I look at martial art. It's not something to joke around.
Hmm.
It's I know it's not like boxing, but it trained the whole body.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Grooming. What's your feel on that? Katas, forms. Um, how important do you think they are in terms of not only learning the martial art, but just in your discipline? And a follow up for both of you guys after you answer that is something that you do on your own. So is that
Hmm.
something that that you do currently, even though you may not be in a school per se, or you may not be under a teacher at this moment, but that is something I would think you could do just to stay in shape or just to kind of keep fresh or keep close to the art, even if you may not be in a position to study it. Is that part of your practice now? And if not, why not? So Pete answered the question on Cottage, and then the follow up would be, are they still part of your daily, routine or weekly routine or however much just to stay connected?
So yes, it is very, very, very important, I believe, because it's in our style we call it shadow fighting too, because
Mm-hmm.
it techniques in like something similar is a impact punch. You coming in, you grab the punch, you come in, you come back out to it. It's a way to learn the technique and teach you how to use it. Like a form, like sick form. Like you learn to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he teaches you those techniques correctly. So when you're practicing with somebody, you already know them. So people think it's corny. You're dancing to yourself. Like I'm dancing to myself, but I'm dancing for a purpose. So those are very important techniques. That's why when you go to any real karate tournament, the first thing any tournament will do is going to go over empty hand forms, because I want to see if you form, because it teaches you how you snap your punch, how technique is, how well is everything. All three are factors. Where your footwork is, that goes to all three factors, like I said originally. So I have seen judges literally demolish people in a form, empty hand. Like they're very good fighters, but it comes to form, they're horrible because they're not taking time and practicing in that. So do I do it on my daily basis when I have time?
Not so much daily, but that's one thing I noticed with some martial artists is that if you're not in it, you're not in it. You know what I mean? It's like if you're not in a school, if that's not part of your weekly grind, that's like one of the first things to go. You know what I'm saying? It's like a guy who's you're so used to going to the gym and working out, but what if you couldn't go to a gym, but then you could still do push-ups, sit-ups, you can do body weight, you can do it, but it's like if I'm not in the gym, I just can't train. Or so I see a lot of martial artists doing that. Like you're not staying connected unless you are all. It's like you're either all in or all out. There's no in between with a lot of people.
So I agree and disagree at the same time. I agree. A lot of martial artists say yes. If I'm not in the dojo, what's the point? But if you kind of grew up in it, like I did, and it's very important. Like to this day, I miss it. I miss going to the dojo. If I had time. I don't care what fuck about money. I'll find the money. I'll fucking rob a goddamn 20 banks if I have to. Not literally, so no FBI is watching this shit. I'm not robbing any banks. But if I was able to make time to go, I would go. If it is only once a goddamn week, I would go. Me is time, or that's where I struggle mostly. But let's say I could make time. I'll be in it on a heartbeat. But I'll tell you right now, Paul, I will not be doing kung fu or karate. I'll do like ninjutsu or Brazilian, something different. I haven't studied yet. I studied a little bit.
You know you're not going now.
Yeah, I study. I practice once a week.
And I don't understand your schedule. You're working very hard. You're putting in a lot of hours. But what if you did just on your own? And I know you go to the gym also.
I do.
Right. So that's what I'm asking. So how often do you do that? Like katas, or just do the forms that you remember? And I don't know how many total in a given style, how many forms that you typically learn? I don't know, it's 15 or 20 different
90
or whatever it is. But do you regularly go over those just in your time? You get up in the morning.
So I do a little
minutes worth, or
I do it unorthodox. And this is not a bad way, actually. So when I actually do practice or train, if you want to call it that, I don't train one specific form. I combine them. I just go over the moves more. Like I might start with a down block with a reverse punch into an elbow strike with a roundhouse kick or a jump kick. I'll do a combination stuff. I make my own form pretty much. There's nothing wrong with that. You can create your own forms. Like I've seen for tournaments, we have one form is really good, but it's not gonna be fancy enough for a tournament. We have to build a new form, and we do that. So building your own form around the house, goofing around, I don't want to say goofing around, training purposes, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. Like I know people, one of my buddies, he actually built his own Wing Chun Do, and he trains with that damn thing daily. I'm like. Like, how much it cost you? Like, expensive. Like, some of this stuff is expensive to actually have around the house and laying around just for training reasons. Weapons, I have a whole duffel bag of weapons ready to go. From stick, from size to nunchucks to anything, you name it. So, how often do I practice? 3 or 4 times a week.
Nice. Dave, what about you? When it comes to form or practice, I don't. We haven't even talked about weapons. You just brought that up, but I don't know. David, how much time you have with weapons, but do you on any given day, do you just get into your
I would say that I used to have weapons during my 20s and my 30s, like to have like 3 different pair of nunchucks. and I would practice those things on my daily basis because it was good for my forearm.
Mm-hmm.
And two of them are heavy wood, and I think one was like almost glass-like material,
Mm-hmm.
so kind of heavy. And I lost those three. I don't know, maybe when I was moving, then I lost it. I do practice whenever I get a chance to, but in the past couple of years, I have not been able to practice, and I'm mad with myself for that because just like dojos are always needed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like doing a review. I was looking for a dojo so I could be a part of something in case of anything. I could go back and go back to the basics and not forget my foundation. I wish I grew up. I started in junior high,
Mm-hmm.
and I got into it, and it's something I always into for the longest. I remember my parents would not let me, and I was able to do that without my parents knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came back and my parents knew that I took in martial art, she would tell people in her church, "Oh, don't bug her son, this and that, because I do X, Y, Z." And I don't know why she was doing it. There was one time some people were trying to trigger me, and I lost my cool. And I kind of like I put a dent in the wall. There's a few times when I have no movie when I was not practicing.
You and the walls don't get along well, do they?
I'll be honest. I put a crack in my wall in high school. I put a dent in my locker out in Job Corps. I remember one time I couldn't take my book into my locker and lost my cool. And I went outside in the snow with a short and tank top and did not even feel the cold. And I allowed that to control my anger because I need some outward pressure to bring down the rage. I will walk long distance. Because of karate, I was able to walk from Times Square to Far Rockaway on foot.
Wow.
I did abnormal things. Walking long, like I remember one time I said, "What if I had to walk from New York to Texas? How many days would it take me to do that
Right.
on foot?"
Well,
And
you lose some weight like that.
I surely will. By the time I get to BMU door, you be scared like, "Who you out there? Who you think I am? Black? You don't look like black. They look like black hole. I'm not what it's supposed to be."
Well, I won't say you look like that. I'll tell you like David's son, most likely.
Right.
But the thing is, I'm mad that I did not practice like I used to,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I don't think people understand it. Martial art, mixed martial art, is very essential to your health, one way or the other. It helps to keep your body in check on many different levels. In martial art, even people who look up to Bruce Lee say the same thing. Even though you do martial arts, you need to lift weight. Weight training was very also essential. So there are a lot of martial art practice that do encourage weightlifting as well.
That was going to be my next question, actually. In terms, we all, I think everyone can agree, even practitioners and non-practitioners. I think a lot of people can agree that is good. There's health benefits to the study of the martial arts, not only just the practice of it, but the discipline, the diet. Now, again, I know some guys are like crazy. They'll eat McDonald's and Burger King and all that kind of stuff. But I think I think in general, are more conscious about what they're taking in. Now, again, alcohol, that's another story. I've known some martial arts guys, they drink. I mean, that's just what they do. All right. But as far as the diet, I think everyone's getting more conscious about the diet. But one of the questions I definitely want to ask is as far as what you've been taught and what you do personally. Because again, I think I know you guys.
I'll go.
Well, before we move forward, I want to bring somebody to David's attention so I understand why me and David don't really have the time to do this as much. So, adult class will start between 6:30 and 7:30 and end by 8:00. Most people are usually getting the kids ready to school or doing something around the house. And that's why it's such a bad time.
Like I said, I understand that.
No, I know you do.
What I'm saying, and Mandrell, thanks for coming back to the conversation because I'd like to get your input on this as well. For a lot of, we talked about forms and katas that are meant to be done individually. We understand it may not necessarily how it manifests itself in a fight. That's debatable. But you just notice how a lot of people, if you're not in the dojo or if you're not in the environment, a lot of times people get off of doing like that kind of work, the kata work, the forms or whatnot, as a way either to stay in shape or just to stay sharp on the discipline that they devoted themselves to. But it's like people go to the gym. If you can't get to the gym, you know, you could do push-ups and sit-ups and body weight. You could do all kinds of stuff at home. But it's like, if I'm not in the gym, I don't feel motivated to train.
That's true.
And so the same thing I see with katas as well in forms, that a lot of guys, like, once they're not in the dojo, like, we understand people are busy, you can't get to the school, you know, the classes and whatnot, but that's something you think you could take with you because you spent so much time learning it because you had to pass your tests and whatnot, and you were graded and on your forms and whatnot. That's something you think you could preserve, but a lot of guys don't stay with it when they're not in the dojo. Is that something that you experience, or do you see that with some guys? Why do you think people don't stay with it once they leave the dojo experience, or they, you know, or what have you? What do you think is going on there?
I think it's more so a loss of interest after so long. Like, say they miss a class here or there, I think the interest usually wanes for some people. I did it because I enjoyed it. I enjoy karate. I enjoy boxing. I enjoy wrestling. I enjoy sparring. You know what I'm saying? Right. I actually enjoy it, and I look forward to it. And I made it a part of my day. You know, so for me, it's more so a way of life. You know what I'm saying? As well as just as much as, say, you go into your job. You're gonna get up, do your process for hygiene. You know, speak to your wife maybe and the kids or whatever. You know, and then you go to work. Like, if you were to take my approach, once, either before you go to work or after you get off of work, you go to the dojo, then go home or go do your errands, your shopping for groceries or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So for me, it's a part of my day. Most people don't do it like that. They don't take it that seriously. Right. You know, so it's easier for them to lose interest than it would be for someone like myself, or maybe grooming, you know what I mean, and Black David. But Black David has a family, so it's going to be harder for him to squeeze that in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, dojo time. I think is definitely going to be like anything else. I mean, to try to fit that in, unless you say go right after work or don't allow yourself to. It's not almost like a black hole. Once you get home, it's hard to.
Once you get home, like I have a client now. I have a client now right now. Talk to him. He gets home off of work to go change clothes and go to the gym. I said, no, pack a bag before work. And go right after work, dude. Once you go home, the second you sit down, it's over. Yeah. You're not used to making this a part of your day, and that's what we're trying to practice now, right?
Yeah, or start your day with it.
There you go.
I'm not a morning person, but even when I weight train, I prefer to train in the morning. Because the times I've tried to train after work, after I got an hour commute.
You want to go? You have an hour commute. I'm just tired. You're ready to go home.
Exactly. Right. So I start my day intentionally. Even though I'm not a morning person, I train in the mornings just to make sure I control that and not let the day get away from me.
Right.
So here's my pushback on this.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
1 minute. I think it's more so that, not entirely that. You know, but to answer another one of his questions, if I may, grooming, where do the katas fit, things like that. The actual moves are in the katas. The katas are a way to practice your moves, your blocks.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Your forms. You know, your stances. You practice, like, say, the cat stance, right?
Right.
The cat stance helps you strengthen your legs and your ankles, the muscles in your foot. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do a full kata and flex your muscles, and every time you stop, you flex every muscle in your body when it comes to karate. I think grooming and Black David can agree with me on that. A kata, if you're really doing the kata correctly, it's a full body workout. You know, and it's a way to practice your moves, like things like this, and they have the hand underneath like this.
Yeah.
Or like this, depending on which style of karate you're taking. But it's like this. This is a block, and so is this one. You're blocking a low kick. You're blocking a high kick or a punch. You know what I'm saying? Then there's other ones when, you know, they might go like this. That's also a block. You know what I'm saying? And it's a deflection block.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So all these things are in the katas. But once you take karate, you'll recognize it. And you're like, oh, and it's funny being a kid when it clicks, you're a kid and it clicks, you're like, oh, that's the Seiken. You know what I'm saying? Or this, Seiken is a punch. It's that karate punch you see.
Reverse punch.
Yeah.
The reverse punch.
Yeah.
The reverse. Yeah, some people call it the reverse punch, but the original name for it was Seiken. That's the name of the technique. But when it's translated to English, and because of popularity, to make it easier for people to comprehend, right, they call it reverse punch because you're pulling and punching at the same time. And it is a good way to generate energy for power.
Right.
But that's why I think katas are important. Why people don't continue it?
Yeah, for all the just even like I said, that the health benefits of it, like that you're exercising to a large extent, and that's something like say because there might be a situation again you can't get to the dojo for whatever reason, but that's something you can start your day with. You know what I'm saying? You get up out of bed, you do it,
or even finish your day with it.
Yeah.
So here's a little bit of my pushback. What you were guys saying with the gym part training. Like when I was driving 45 minutes to work, coming back from work right away, I was going to hit that major traffic. What I did is stop to the gym next to my job, get my training in, and then going home so I don't hit that rush hour traffic. Yeah. So that's the example I want to give in. Now with the katas, like I said earlier, so you saw how his form was like. Perfect, snapping his wrist, get into it. And a lot of people don't understand why the American version turned into reverse punch was when you start from the hip, coming in, turning, you're hitting with these eye knuckles, we call them. And that when you hit the impact and the solar plex, you're turning it. When that hits the impact, you're actually ripping skin. And if you're strong enough or you're taking this perfect enough, you can rip some organs in there too. Not like major damage, but enough to like, oh shit, that fucking hurts. I'm not gonna fuck with this guy. Now we're trained when we do the reverse punch. We hit the solar plex. The reason is that is the one muscle. Every time you hit that perfectly, you're going to feel it. I don't care how conditioned you are. Yeah. So
the thing is with that one, the Japanese, the Okinawans discovered that no matter how, and this is true to this day, Paul. If you notice the solar plexus, no matter how many sit-ups you do, no matter how many push-ups you do, you cannot directly train that spot.
That's my point.
It is forever the weakest point in the torso.
Right.
The Okinawans discovered that. So grooming is absolutely correct. That is a target. The solar plexus is a actual target in karate. And the thing is, American boxing does the same thing. It gives you targets like when you jab. You aim for the eyes and the bridge of the nose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In military combatives, special forces combatives, they teach us a lot of the same things that are in karate. Mm-hmm. A lot of the stuff is in karate. It is actually in karate, and it was like, see,
remember what I said?
In American
the retired MMA fighter that trained military.
So a little backstory.
There's actual karate in it. It's like it's fascinating to watch, but like, it's fascinating that we see how the old masters discovered the stuff when they were developing it and growing it. Like I said, they discovered that is a spot you can't train. So it might be strong because you train the whole solar plexus, but that's going to always be the weakest part. Always.
So a little backstory really fast, guys, so you understand something. I'm a huge martial art fan. I'm also a huge military fan. So when I find out they use martial arts in military, I'm like, ooh, that is like I can put both of my worlds together. That's why this show is called Operation Hangout. If you see the intro, it's like a military theme because I respect the military. B, I'm a huge fan of it. Major, quick question on you. Special Forces, can you say what exactly you did or no?
Yeah, some of it. I mean, as far as the training goes.
No, were you like Navy SEALs, Delta Force? That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I was Green Beret.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I was just curious.
Beret,
because I know sometimes it's classified. You have to wait so many years before you can talk about it. I didn't want you to break any laws.
That applies to like you can tell people. See Delta Force, right? Which is no matter what branch there is that the American military has, Delta Force is the elite of the elite of the elite. Mm-hmm. You don't get any more in the military. You don't get any more elite than that. The CIA recruits from that. For their special force, for the CIA special forces which is called ground branch. That's not classified. I am allowed to say that. Okay, but they recruit from Delta Force. Okay. They also recruit from Green Berets as well. Right. But if you're in Delta Force, that will get you an interview. Wow. So, Delta Force will get you an interview. Period. Right. I mean, because I was in Special Forces, and Delta Force was the only thing more elite than what I was.
Right.
That is it. That is the only. If I want to go into more elite, that's the only thing I can do. Period. So even we to tell you how secret they are. Even we didn't know what they do. I worked with them a few times, but I thought there would be more overlap. You know what I'm saying? Grooming because we're so close. But no, other than the fact that you both wear pants, we're completely different. I think that's one of the very few similarities we have. You both wear pants.
Yeah. Wow. So I have a lot of friends in the service, obviously, and I always ask them. I like hearing stories, and some stories they can tell me. So something like, Pete, I love you to death, but if this leaks, my ass is in trouble. So you better not fight.
I do have stories like that. I do have stuff like that too.
Yeah. I hear you. Let's move it on. We got a few minutes left in the show.
Yeah, we got 10 more minutes left.
So let's get some quick hitters here. And again, we started this Mandrell before you came back on. Weight training. Again, to me, this is very similar to what we used to know about in all the sport. Basketball, unless you were playing football, back in the day, they didn't encourage a lot of weight training. Boxing, they didn't encourage a lot of weight training. They said it made your muscles stiff, it made you slow, it made you muscle bound, which we know today a lot of that stuff isn't true. But even then, still, you see a lot of guys that training with kettlebells and bands and things like that. They're not really putting the real training in. I think Bruce Lee, he was a pioneer in that. He was one of the first major advocates to include weight training within your martial art. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of schools, it was like you did push-ups, sit-ups, chin-ups or whatever. But there was just this big aversion to weight training. So where do you, based on what you guys learned, how were you guys trained in the martial arts? Was that encouraged? Was that something you picked up on your own later on? So you guys go around and
weight training in martial art before Bruce Lee was doing it, but it wasn't like those kind weight. It's more like those type of weight they would put around your wrist, around your ankle, like for resistance. Because
weight vests, stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm being very specific about like what we know today as either you want to call it bodybuilding or that traditional weight training. Not I get the bars and the bands and the things
both.
of that nature.
They're both. In Shito, they do both. One was more scary about the people in the brown belt and black belt in my art. They have the weight around their ankle, around the wrist, and they were told to train with it everything. Like the moment you wake up in the morning, you put to have it on your wrist. Sometimes they sleep with it. They say when time for the sparring, you have to take it off. Now, my sensei and my senpai told me, those guys they spar with, when they take those things off, the amount of whistling you hear in the air, you think they're whistling, not really like it's their arm and their feet. And the way it's moved, it's lightning fast. Yeah, they do lift weight upon when they have the weight on the wrist, but it's added extra more, which is kind of like...
Right. I'm talking more, but even then, you're talking about, to me, that's like in basketball. We used to play basketball. You would put the ankle weights on. They were supposed to help you with your vertical.
And they still live on top of it. And
I'm talking about, but I'm talking about building
in the gym.
Building, right. Because think about it. In most martial arts cinema also, you didn't see a lot of muscular guys. Remember the 5 Venoms? You had the one Venom who was muscular. Everybody else was skinny. You didn't see muscle until Bruce Lee, and then you saw like Billy Blanks and Michael Jai White, like muscular guys. It's like you can have muscle and be a martial artist.
Yeah, here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. Me, I believe in it because I did it. Like I got introduced to. I started lifting weights when I was 14, right?
Right.
I've been boxing for.
Which is recommended. That's the age when you should start. Actually,
I didn't know that at the time, right? I didn't know that at the time anyway. But it's I started doing it when I was 14. Lifting weights when I was 14, and I never stopped because. Just one summer of lifting weights, Mr. Bennett. Guys, after one summer of lifting weights, like I had grown, like you know what I'm saying, like the effectiveness of the martial art through the friggin' roof.
Yeah.
Whereas no one else is doing it. You know what I'm saying? No one else is lifting weights. So as far as making you stiff, it didn't make me stiff. You gain weight, of course. You know what I'm saying, because you're putting on muscle.
Right.
But
that's the myth, right? Like,
but I didn't get slow. I didn't get stiff. Right. I didn't get slow. I didn't get stiff because I was still training. And the more you train, you're throwing hands, you're kicking. Your muscles gonna stay loose. I was stretching all the time. You know what I mean? I didn't notice any adverse effects. But it was so I think it had a marked improvement. And the more I did it, I kind of became invincible. You know what I mean? So, but in boxing is very humbling. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get too much of the big head. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, in a sanctioned fight, I've never had an injury. Not one. Never been knocked out. Never been dazed, dizzy, nothing. In the gym, I've had every single one of those injuries.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've been knocked out cold, like sleep. You know what I'm saying? That shit, right? But those are the growing pains of it. Until you learn and get better, you're making mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And the other person capitalizes. But then as you learn and you practice with the sparring, you don't make those mistakes anymore. So they don't. It hadn't happened in a very long time. I was a teenager last time I had an injury. I think I was like 19. Last time I had an injury in a boxing ring or in a boxing gym. That was it, dude. I mean, since then. But yeah, to answer your question directly, I think that weightlifting should go synonymous with it. Absolutely, right along with it. It does help to a tremendous amount.
Wow. Growing, what's your thoughts on first of all, what were you taught? You know, your senseis, what did they how did they view weightlifting in addition to your training, and what are your views on that now? Has that changed over the years?
So my views have changed a lot, because when I was coming up, my instructor didn't think we needed it because how hardcore our class was. We trained, like when we were doing push-ups, for example, one of our fellow students or classmates would sit on my back, and so that would consider as weightlifting in a way if you really think about it. Manager, please jump in me if I'm wrong here. So and I was a little too young to start lifting. But I was also a little bit ignorant at the time, because I felt you start lifting, you're going to be so big, you can wipe your own ass. You know, I didn't understand anything till I actually started working for the gym. My dojo was inside the gym. You know, I think we can kill two birds with one stone. The kids can get dropped off to teach for me, and mom and dad can go work out. Like a daycare thing almost. So, you know, the owner like, come on, dude, you gotta go train. I'm like, dude, I don't need to train. I got my dojo. I can train as much as in there. Like, trust me, you want to train. And I just, you know, I shut him up one day. Like, all right, Joe, I'm going to train. And after that, I take back everything I ever said bad about lifting, because I was ignorant. I didn't know anything better. Now, looking back, if you're old enough to lift, like over 14, is it, I believe? Am I wrong here?
Yeah, over 14, because your bones get kind of fused at that time. Still developing.
If you're old enough,
they won't bend because of the weight.
Yeah.
Because and I started because of football.
Yeah.
I decided to play football, and weight program in school. But go ahead.
Yep. I did the same thing. I joined the football team just for, you know, to lift, to use the gym, but I really fell in love with it. When I was older, in my 20s, I'm like, now if you're old enough, I'm also part for, yes, you should train. If you're not old enough, do just physical activities, push-ups, sit-ups, stuff like that. So it depends, really. It's a catch-22. Do I feel weightlifting is a huge part of martial arts? Absolutely. I think you need it, because you have like people I see all the time, martial arts I know, they're completely shredded. They're not huge guys, but their body weight is low because how fast calories they're burning. Like they cannot gain weight because how fast they are, and they're in their 40s.
Right. So, but now to the standpoint of being able to, Manager, you talk about your how your martial arts improve. What about your power?
Yes, that's what I mean.
That's always debate in boxing. Like they always say in boxing, for example, are punchers born or made? And I think that in when you talk about, I mean, you get some heavy guys. You talked about the weight advantage that a lot of people will have. Some guys, we've seen Tommy Hitman Hearns, and we've seen Felix Trinidad, and some of these guys thin as a rail.
Yeah,
but if they hit you, they knock you go out. It's just, and you got these big muscular guys who they hit you. It's like you're getting hit with a pillow. So to what extent can you, through the weight training or whatever, increase your power? And jump on this also, David. How do you think you can make improvements, or it's just you'll improve in other areas from that? Can your power be enhanced?
Absolutely. In fact, my power, that's what I mean by went through the roof. My power, like that was the biggest difference. I was knocking people out, slap out, left, right, and center. When I started lifting weights, it was like no, if you'd have seen it, you'd have been laughing. You laughed too. I wish I had like footage of it so I could put a montage together. It was like no joke. I would tap people on the chin. Right. Boom. I mean, you know what I mean? It was like, maybe, look, the first time I did it, I just kind of like, you know what I'm saying, threw a right cross, right? Mm-hmm. I slipped, and I remember throwing the right cross. It wasn't even an overhand. It was just, I just twisted my heels a little bit, pop, snapped it. You know what I'm saying? And homie just knocked out and just tooted up, like Nate Robinson. Mm-hmm. Like you know, Nate Robinson just, it was like that. He was just out, and I was like, what in the world? And it was like another guy after another. But yeah, it's because I didn't just do one or two muscles just to look. They weren't vanity muscles. I was working my back because I remember seeing Bruce Lee having a huge back.
Oh yeah,
when he flexed, his back was just.
I had never seen
guy, right?
Unless you're talking about Arnold, like back then pumping on his body. I had never seen that kind of lash.
Neither had I. Like he was a skinny guy, but then when he did this, and I wanted that. So I would do pull-ups, lat pull-downs, dumbbell rows. I was working my back, left, right, and center, right? Also doing sit-ups, of course, and working my legs. So I was working the whole body, you know? Man! Because your back, your hips, and your torso, that's where all the power is, right? The rest of it, from the shoulder down to the fist, that's just guidance. Right. You just aim, aim and guidance.
Well, what about your feet?
Well, I'm always on my toes.
But I'm saying, but I've always heard power comes through the feet first.
That's because you're supposed to push off the ground.
Right.
You push off the ground, and then you twist. Then you twist the hips. Yeah. So yes, the power does start in the feet if you're doing it right. It's not just twisting, just a twisting motion.
Right.
You push and twist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hold on. Like a sprinter pushes off in the beginning. It's like that. That's why I teach when I train people. I have them do the motion slowly first. I tell them push off that foot to develop muscle memory. Man, listen, bro. After the first summer I'm working on lifting weights, it was on and popping. Like I was knocking people out. They're like, "Where you got that, Carlos? Where you get all that power from? You on steroids?" I'm like, "No. Yes, you are. There's no way."
I hated that. I hated that.
Right? I got a lot of that.
Weightlifting. Everybody think you on steroids. The same thing they take to me. They're like, you on steroids. You taking juice. I say, look at my arm. You see the hold of my arm?
Everyone thought I was juice.
So really fast,
I was just genetically
freak
with muscle building.
Yeah. So, Paul, I understand, not all styles, but most styles, from my knowledge, they start on the ball of the foot, not the heel, the ball. That's where it is. Yeah. So remember when we were hanging out, I told you I don't walk on my heel, I walk on my ball because I have it. My instructor had little springs in the mat, sick bastard he was. So every time that go ding, go off, he used to take a bamboo stick, whoosh, behind the foot every single time. So I have learned, and my calluses are so bad, they get painful at times. I have to literally go to get my feet done. And I walk, here's my foot. I don't put my heel down. I go, put it down. It looks like I'm putting it down, but I'm not. I'm actually putting my foot down. Yeah. Like even when I do a roundhouse kick, you're literally on the knife of your foot, and you're spinning on that ball. That's where all the torque comes out.
You say that because, again, parents, I know my mom especially, parents always used to scold you if you walked on the balls of your foot. Like you ever see a kid? They walk on the balls of their foot a lot of times, and the parents will always say, "Put your heel down, like put your foot down. Don't do that." So it's interesting, but in the martial arts though, it's an advantage to walk on the balls of your feet or whatever. So I just find it interesting. You mentioned that. So
it was that bad because if anyone in the martial art, you sometimes you want to get the advantage. You want to train yourself to walk on your ball of feet all day and every day. I even tried to spar on the ball of my feet. I would do all type of stance and find which stance that's beneficial for me. So in case of I want to kick somebody head off their shoulder,
right,
it'd be best. And man, Joe attached to it. And when make martial art, if you into it long enough, you start thinking all type of ridiculous ideas to your head and try to educate it how you would execute it. And people think you're mentally ill when you think that way, but you don't realize these training put these ideas in your head after a while.
Yeah.
And once you execute it, you're like,
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, just real quick, just want to shout out. Listen, guys, we need to be careful, all right? Because the wife school says she loves capoeira. So don't mess with wife school.
Listen. Let me tell you about my capoeira story. Let me tell you my capoeira story, dude. Okay, college, right? Alabama A&M University, Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh.
Guys found out I knew karate, box, and stuff like that. I'm a martial artist, right? So other martial artists would get together. This other guy I met, he's a martial artist. We got together. We would spar nearly every day. We would go to the gym, or one of the gyms there, and spar every day. And some guy saw us. He practiced boxing. We taught him stuff. He taught us stuff, because I boxed too. You know what I mean? And so we go to the boxing gym sometimes because they let us come for free, because we're broke college students. But, anyway, we're in the gym doing martial arts, karate and whatnot, and whatever styles. And we turned into like a social group, right? Then here come these guys with their capoeira BS. I'm watching this. I'm just like, look, man, I saw that movie with this in it. This isn't practical. Yes, it is. In Brazil, they fight with blades on their shoes. I'm like, yeah, that still doesn't. No, dude. I can see you winding up from 3 years away. You know what I mean? I was like, this isn't practical. Like, you don't. If you want to practice capoeira, practice it, and use it as an addition. I'll tell people, like, some things are good complementary styles, like Wing Chun. For a boxer, Wing Chun is fantastic. If you want to mix it with your karate, which karate doesn't really need Wing Chun, but to learn the arm trapping,
right,
it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But it's not a primary style. Capoeira, building momentum to throw a power kick, good for that, but not much else. That Jenga, stop playing with me.
Yeah.
So then one of the guys challenged me, and so okay, cool, we'll spar. Let's spar. Okay, cool. So we're sparring. I'm doing light sparring, right? I'm not hitting him in his face. I aim for his chest, his stomach, his legs, things like that. This guy starts hitting me, pushes me, and kicks me in the face. And I stopped myself. I'm like, he looked at me like, you can tell him, he looked in his face. And he looked at his face. He was like, he thought I was going to go down or get hurt or back away from that. No, I was still standing there. I was like, wait, hold up. That was kind of hard. He hit me in the face. You know what I mean? So we kept going. And so I just kind of tapped him on the head. You know what I mean? Because I'm blocking, and he threw one of his kicks. I bobbed and weaved, and I tapped him on his forehead. You know what I mean? So it's like with boxing. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
with boxing, he had his capoeira with boxing, just bob and weave and tap on his forehead. And so then I kept doing that. I kept just like throwing my fist, but I wouldn't punch him in the face. I'd always stop right in front of it and bring it back. Like I mean, he comes in again, and I just this block here. Right here with his leg, right?
Right.
And so his leg, his back's towards me. So I step in and chop. Yeah, with a karate chop, I win this match. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like the most cliche move in all of the history of karate. A karate chop. It makes him submit. He gives up.
Oh my gosh.
The most cliche move of all time.
Wow, that is.
I was listen. That's not practical, dude. I can see you winding up. Like I said, I told this thing. I can see you winding up from 3 years away.
Right.
He wanted to prove himself, and then here comes his friends who believe in capoeira, and I beat like 5 guys in a row that one day.
Wow.
I believe it.
And it made everyone who was watching. It made all of them a believer in me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like I was like. Some people know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like grooming, you can tell he's a guy who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. So true story.
The fact that you just
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but
let's just dive this into because I know we're coming up towards the end of the show. That was a great story, by the way. Because the final question I was going to try to get in tonight, and I think we could probably wrap around on this, is can you share some memorable moments or experiences in terms of your personal journey with the martial arts, or either witnessing? That was a funny story. So you basically take out a room full of capoeira guys.
A room full of capoeira guys with karate.
So I actually have a couple stories really fast before we get too ahead, but it's going to be a combination of the last question and this one, capoeira. So you guys remember the Zach the Black Ranger, right? Yeah. So I met him at a Comic-Con, so we started talking and yeah. So he has a style called dancing jiu-jitsu. It's a form of capoeira, and I go to him, do you really think that style is real? He goes to me, well, so just studying a little bit, like, you know, I'm martial arts, like, fuck this, I'm not messing with you. He walked away from me and go, oh, wait, well, I was just scared, and he goes, last time I got in a fight with this, he goes, it was with J.C. David Frank when he was still alive, the White Ranger. He goes, he kicked my ass. I am not messing with you guys anymore. I'm done getting my ass kicked.
Wow.
So over the years, I actually have met some great people. Some from MXA guys from different styles. I have so many stories. We don't have enough time in a day. But the best stories is, as martial artists, we love playing pranks. So I will literally watch your back if I were you. Like, the best story I can tell you is I think I said the story on the Guerrero, if I'm not mistaken. So my instructor loved playing pranks on his son. He had an old ancient samurai sword, real samurai from great grandparents passed down. I go, we should dress you up as his great grandfather. We're like, great idea. We could have smoke machine, smoked it up and everything. His son comes upstairs. I'm in a samurai geared up to the T. And he's looking over like, what the fuck is going on here? I go, Shin, I'm your great grandfather. You have, what did I say? You have embarrassed the family. I pull the sword out slowly and go, time to pay for your sins. And I go, what? Right across, right through a couch. It cut it like a butter. These old swords. He's running down. To his mother, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? And like, they walked away. And I'm coming down the stairs in the armor. It's running out of the front yard in the middle of New York City in Queens. And I just started laughing my ass off. And then all of a sudden, you see this Asian guy chasing a Greek guy in a samurai sword in the middle of Astoria Boulevard. You know, so if you saw me on the news, you know it was me.
Oh my gosh. Like, David, in any memorable, your most memorable moment, either someone you met in the martial arts or from an experience that you had, something that was memorable that you recall to this day.
I met Marvin Hagler.
Nice.
I won't say I met someone memorable. I almost got close to getting a chance to. Remember, I mentioned one of my managers trained under Michael J. White, and I want to hope maybe he can step me up with a meeting because.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool. That would be sweet.
That Michael J. White is highly respected among the black martial art community. He's no joke. Plus, I know majority know about the story of how they set him up to beat up, you know who, the fake martial art.
That's another complementary style, Aikido.
We talked about that last year. We talked about. I was asking. I was saying, look, is Aikido legit? Because I mean, I've seen those demonstrations. Where he's twisting guys, 20, 30 guys coming at him. He's flicking. I'm like, this looks staged to me.
It is. The demonstrations are staged. Very, very much so. They're very much so staged, dude. There's nothing real about the demonstrations. I mean, it's good to know the holes and everything like that. That might help you, but again, like Wing Chun. There's so much of it that you have to throw out.
Right.
That's actually practical because in Wing Chun, even your stance is not optimal. Aikido, no, dude. It's like no. None of this is gonna happen in real life, Paul. You know what I'm saying? None of this is gonna. You're never gonna have this in real life.
My man, Joy, ain't Aikido from Japan also?
It is.
So Aikido is, I call it the joint lock system because if you can grab it and actually twist his joint locks really well, you can get it. But practical to get into that close, you don't want to be that close. You never want to be that close to your opponent. But when you do get into it, you have that as your backup of your backup moves, if that makes sense, Paul.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a complementary style.
Yeah.
It complements everything else that you got. You know what I mean?
Right. But that's one of the things, though. I think we talked about that a little bit when you were off air, as far as the myths or the misconceptions about martial arts sometimes, and you see like how the movies, how they kind of make it somewhat bigger than what it is, with these guys doing superhuman stunts, or when you see these mock demonstrations, you know, when Seagal is just flicking his wrist and twisting guys like 20. I don't know if does that help martial arts or does it hurt it? In terms of, you know, its representation, when you see these guys and the guys who study like you guys, what's real and what's not. But to the general public, what image or what perception are you giving out to the public when you see these stunts, and is that really helping the martial arts overall, or is it hurting? I saw this one video on Facebook. This guy, he did this beautiful front thrust kick to a wooden dummy, I think it was to a bag. But then they showed a scene where the guy was in a real fight with a bigger guy. He threw that front kick and didn't move that guy an inch, and the guy, he went to, as soon as he kicked, he went like straight down. So it's like, how much of the beautiful kicks and the moves or whatnot, how does that actually pan out when you have to really fight somebody?
David Seagal made it look bad. Yet other people made it look good. Because you talk about Jean-Claude Van Damme, Michael J. Jackie Chan, Jet Li.
But those are actual fighters, though.
They were actual fighters.
Steven Seagal's not a fighter.
He's not a fighter. He made it look bad. That's the problem. And
Steven Seagal is a monster, dude.
He's a big guy. I mean, he looks like he could be,
The thing is, everybody in the big martial industry or who are pocket, nobody told you how they set up Michael J. White to come on the same movie production with Steven Seagal, and they were setting him up to the point, the director, to the producer, everybody was in it, and he did not. You know how messed up that is. You are a big martial artist and you are an actor, and you got set up to beat up somebody with everybody wants to pay.
Well, to be fair, the reason why they set that up, because they rewrote one of the final fight scenes to where Steven Seagal and Michael J. White would fight each other, and like Mr. Bennett, it was like this: like Steven Seagal had been beating up all the stuntmen because the stuntmen knew it was fake. They knew they were shooting a movie, but Steven Seagal was getting too serious. He was actually hitting people all throughout the production of this film. I think it was Exit Wounds. But it was like all throughout the production of the film, Steven Seagal was actually punching people.
Right.
And so everyone got so pissed off with it, they actually set up Michael J. White to get in there so Steven could actually hit him and set off Michael J. White to beat him up.
Right. But didn't he also earlier he had a fight with Gene LaBelle, the judo
and the judo guy beat him up.
Yeah. Gene's not a big guy either. He's older. He's much older than everybody at the time.
See, here's the problem with that. Like when you're in a Hollywood scene, if you're beating up your stuntman, that's a problem because they know they can't hit back. In a real street fight, if he hits me, I'm hitting him back. Or in the dojo, if you hit me, I'm hitting you back. Simple as that. Like it's us goofing around is a different story, but look at you like, dude, come on, this is kind of going too far. But in their job, if they hit back, A, they're gonna lose their job, and B, very well he's gonna sue them probably.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. All right,
listen, we could again. You may have to go, and again, I don't know if you want to do it either through the gray area or just make it almost like a monthly on your stream where you just have a martial arts.
Yeah, we could do that.
There's some questions we weren't able to get to. I still want to get into some of the spiritual aspects that we haven't had a lot of time to talk about. And Mandrell, so again, for my gray area show, we touched on it a little bit, that there are some spiritual aspects to martial arts that, especially for people of faith, it could be controversial. And so certainly I want to explore some of that at some point. But again, I think you can make this at least once a month, have some kind of martial arts show, or every however often you think we should do it. But there's so many elements here, and again, there's other practitioners. I think there's other people out there who we could certainly invite on who could share their perspectives on their journey in martial arts and what they've gotten out of martial arts as well, because it's done a lot of positive things for a lot of people overall. That certainly for those who definitely those who benefited from it. So I think this can be almost like a regular or a series, at least every other month, if not once a month. You could probably have a show on martial.
So I did try to get some guys on there. Most of the guys didn't feel comfortable. The one guy I did not ask the reason I didn't hire, and this is I want to touch base really fast on this. Great guy. He got too many blows to the head, and he has Parkinson's disease now, really bad.
Geez.
So keep in mind, whoever's practicing anything, get your checkup. Make sure you get your brain scanned at least every so often. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how often you should get your brain checked, but get yourself checked out because you're gonna get hit, and you're gonna get hard. You know, you have to make this make sure it works fine, because if this doesn't work, nothing else matters. So make sure you get checked.
Well, you know, you've done boxing, so I know you've taken some headshots, and you say you've been knocked out. So have you gotten brain scans? Is that something?
Yeah, I've had plenty of.
No joke on that.
No kidding. I've had plenty of MRIs, plenty of them.
And you fought heavyweight, so you fought. So you taking heavyweight punches to the head?
Yeah, I've fought at middleweight, cruiserweight, heavyweight. Yeah, man. So it's
like I had one guy that he won a couple of championships. He's a boxer guy, great. And I asked him to come on. He respectfully declined, and that's fine. That's their But Major, I want to ask you a question before we go. I was thinking of doing a show. I want to hear your opinion first. Show on the military, your experiences like that. Would you be willing to do something like that?
Military? Yeah.
Maybe we can bring him on the gray area too. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, that would work.
So, when we close out, you got it.
No, I think you can close it out again. It's been an honor. Like I said, I'm the only guy on here who hasn't spent serious time studying the martial arts. So
we have to change that.
But I like being in the conversation. I like hearing your guys' perspectives. In a lot of ways, parts of me are envious that I just, for whatever various reasons, I wasn't able to give it the study that it deserved. And I knew I was going to be the type of person, if I couldn't commit, like if I couldn't give a solid year or two to it, I wasn't going to disrespect it, and I wasn't going to play around with it for the people who have offered to train me. But I knew I just wasn't in the right space in order to take it on, and I didn't want to disrespect their time. But again, I've always been a fan. I admire, I respect, the guys who undergo the training and the discipline to reach the levels that you guys did. So as long as you guys are willing to have me in the conversation, or if I can ask the questions and guide the conversation, again, I consider that an honor. And so thank you, Grumman, for having me run the show tonight. On your
actually, Paul, thank you for taking over. It means a lot to me. Because I'll be honest with you, like, not a lot of people we can trust as creators who we put our soul and blood and sweat in our channels. You're one of the few people I can say, listen, I had to take a night off. Can you take over the range? I know I can trust you. So that's the reason why I asked you that. So, really fast schedule update. So tomorrow night on the Guerrero, we're talking about history. I cannot wait for that one. History is my backyard. Literally, I grew up in that in Greece, so I'm excited for that. I'm very excited about that. So Wednesday, we are talking about, is there a monster in you? Spartan area. I'm curious. I personally believe yes, but we gotta find out on Wednesday. And next Saturday, Kelly should be back. We're talking about Back to the 80s movie edition. So that's, him with movies. He's not gonna shut the fuck up. Yes, I love the guy. Yeah, he worked for Blockbuster for 40 plus years, and he tells me all the time, I never had to pay for one entertainment, not even a video game, not a movie, nothing, till Blockbuster went out of business. But we will be doing this series maybe once or twice a month. I want to talk to the guys off camera and see what they say. I think once a month is pretty good. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, I think that could definitely be. Because again, especially as we can get more people on different, from different disciplines. I think all you guys have had a strong karate background. I would love to talk to a kung fu guy, like or a Brazilian, jiu-jitsu guy, just different styles, and just see how we all, how that.
Jiu-jitsu also, so he come for that.
Wait, I know a fifth guy
as well. So you got a blend there, bro.
What am I thinking, guys? I forgot. BMU is a martial artist.
Who he isn't?
Yeah, he is. Jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu.
Oh, wow. Jiu-jitsu. He gonna get you.
Yeah, I know he is. It's out of love. He knows that too. I hope he's watching this one.
The thoughts and opinions of the host of the show, of Grooming Reviews is not those of the guests.
Nah, honestly, he knows I love him to death. Yeah, it is all for fun anyway. All right, so if you're a martial artist study, if you want to come on, please let me know. I would love to have you guys on. So, except that this is Grooming Reviews. I am Ghost of Sparta. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I see